Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you all? Good morning. I had a restful sleep. Did you? I hope so. Every once in a while, you need one of those deep sleeps that really gets you. And I think I have Tami to thank for that. It was a very good episode. Very good episode. I even watched a little bit before I went to bed. Thank you, Tami. It was a very good episode. It's raining. You can see behind me, it's raining. You can even see my monitor in the screen there. Yeah, can you see what I got all queued up? You paying attention? It's kind of neat. One of the things I spoke to Tami about was getting into streaming. And it's another thing I've spoken to many guests about after they're on. I said, hey, you should stream. You're pretty good at this. More often than not, it's the technology they talk about. And they're intimidated by the technology. They've made it really easy, folks. It's really, really easy. StreamYard is what I use. I went to StreamYard last year for the POEC and worked well. And then I decided to try and save a couple dollars and get an extra feature or two and move to Restream. We've got video evidence that that wasn't a good idea. We were pixelated a lot and it was kind of messy. And it was also a little bit more complicated than StreamYard. So as you saw, I switched back to StreamYard and been great ever since. We have all the features we need, and we are on 7 platforms broadcasting live right now. So check out StreamYard. I don't have sponsors, and I'm not trying to get sponsors, but there is a link in my description to take you to StreamYard, and it will save you $10. So save a couple bucks and use that one. But if you have a voice, and we all do, and you want it to be heard, which not all of us do, but some of us do, and you really think it's time, do it. Just do it. Just do it. Your first video is going to be crappy. You remember my first one, very, very, very first one. My wife didn't even know we pushed start, and we're sitting there still chatting. So look, it's not going to be perfect. And then the first one of this series, it was dark. It didn't look great. It's not going to be perfect. And I guarantee you one thing, and spoiler alert, this episode won't be perfect either. And neither will tomorrow. So it's not about being perfect. Don't even bother trying. It's a fruitless. It's a goal that you just can't get. You can be good. You can be really good. You can be really, really good, but you'll never be perfect. So look, pick up your camera, record it first. Maybe live isn't your thing. Record it first. And with StreamYard, you can upload that video and then go live with it. So there's a whole bunch of reasons how you get yourself online, or a whole bunch of ways to get yourself online, and a whole bunch of reasons to do it. I think it's time. Looking at Twitter, looking at the push for parents, looking at the push against the agenda indoctrination. Now's the time to get more voices out. And if your voice is simply, hey, I'm a parent and I don't want to see this anymore, and then you tell your story about your children like Tami did yesterday about her son coming home and saying, I could be a drag kid. Talk. Get it out there. And also, I'm just going to say this because, hey, why not? For me, it's mentally and spiritually a very good exercise. I'm building up confidence. I'm building up the ability to speak. I'm building up the ability to think on the fly. I'm practicing this all the time. I'm meeting wonderful people, and that's good for the spirit and soul. I'm meeting even people that are frustrating. I'm meeting people that have different opinions. It's all great practice for the soul. So if you want to get the voice out and make a change and help with the push, do it. If you want to feel better about yourself, do it. If you want to share yourself with other people in a way that helps them as well, do it. Because I'll be very honest with you. When I started this journey, my mission is to win the seat. And in order to do that, I need to connect to my neighbors, and then connect to more neighbors, and then connect to all neighbors. And that was the motivation behind the show, to get going, because I had a goal, a purpose, what I want to do. That's a wonderful way to get yourself started, because my goal wasn't to sit in front of you guys in the morning and evenings and take up like most of my day to do this. That wasn't my goal. My goal is to get into the parliament, to go ahead and help change Canada for the better. So this was one wonderful way to do it. So have a goal, have a purpose, and just do it. Maybe your first video is kind of like Tami's first video where she was talking about the idea of doing them. That was enough to inspire me to reach out to her and say, hey, look, keep going. That was a video that made me say, hey, look, this person's special. I want to spend more time talking to this person. And that was just a camera, shot a little bit high up, looking down. The lighting wasn't perfect, but it was sufficient. And it was a wonderful message, and it worked. She got lots of views on it. It worked. So do it. Give it a shot. And if you're shy and you're really, really not sure, record one, make a link, put it unlisted, send it to me. I will absolutely give you my comments on it, suggestions, or whatever. So if you're even thinking about it, I say do it. Now, why am I, kind of bringing this up now? Well, there's a bit of a movement for Canadian voices. There's people like me, several of us are getting together now, kind of behind the scenes to coordinate a Canada-wide, week by week, what's on calendar schedule. So we're kind of all picking slots and we're saying, hey, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. And it's starting to fill in. And it's looking like a mosaic of voices. It's going to be wonderful. Get on there. You can get on there. Start with a show. The only requirement is you're doing a show. It could be a podcast with video. It could be a podcast with just audio. So you could be on Spotify. You could be on YouTube. And you could be Twitter Spaces. You could be hosting those. Whatever it is, whatever your format is, however you feel comfortable getting it out, as long as it includes your voice, you're going to do more than one a week, more than one. So you need a schedule, and you want to join a schedule. Do it. You'll be welcome to be there. And from coast to coast to coast, okay? From coast to coast to coast to border. We're going to get it all covered. So I think that's a wonderful thing. I would love to spend the summer listening to a bunch of different voices, different opinions, different perspectives, different events that you witnessed, right? This kind of brings us back to the witness book. You can absolutely start doing that right away. So please do. So Tami, I know you're here in the chat. Please do. Go ahead and start your stream. It could be very local for you. It could be about your school district, your school board, your school events, and your local events. Or it could be national. You can talk about political stuff. You can talk international, talk about global stuff. All of it helps. The more that we have this patchwork of Canadian voices coming together, the less people will be tuning into the manufactured Canadian voices. So main state media. So if you're tired of main state media, we need to do a grassroots network. So we have started that. It's there. It exists now. If you want to get to be a part of it, if you already have a podcast and you're in Canada and you want to get on that list, you want to schedule your show, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the right people. So on that front, I really hope there's a lot more voices out there. And look, none of us are afraid of competition when it comes to doing this. So don't think, Jay's doing it and Clyde's doing it, and we got all these other podcasts across Canada. Get in there. There's not enough. There's not enough. There's a lot of open air, and we definitely need to get more voices in there. So please do. I hope that encourages you to do it. Now, good morning, Clay. Let's go ahead and say good morning because I need my coffee. Oh, good morning, Clay. You were first today. We should call our chat group the Tim Hortons drive-thru or the Plaid Family drive-thru or something, because you were first in line. You were the first one there. And I got my plaid on today, and I'm ready to go. Good morning, Clay. Who else do we got in the chat? I'm trying to do this hands-off thing. Thanks, Jay. I feel real good to be able to have my own voice for what it feels like once in my life. Yes, Tami. Yes, Tami. Your story was amazing. We're going to hear it again. For those of you that didn't catch it, thank you for coming to catch it again. But it is an amazing story. I do hear the story a lot of people from the left, parents, just people that are observant, people that have a little bit of conservatism in them like Tami did, even though that they're left or NDP or liberal or, really enjoying that lifestyle, that ideology. This is a great story of how she was able to see, and then it came like to her kitchen table, and when her leader stood up and had a certain announcement, that was it. So pay attention to this one. And I think one of the most important parts is when she gets into Jordan Peterson. So when she talks about the impact of Jordan Peterson, the messaging from him, the embrace she feels when she listens to him, and then also her enjoyment of our show and our chat. So all of you played a part in helping share the love and welcome Tami. So thank you very much, Tami, for sharing all that. Good morning, Billy Ray. You used to be around a lot, I think. You think you used to be around the POC days, because I remember a Billy Ray. But welcome back. And if it is your first time and I'm mistaken, I do that. Welcome. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you like hearing very touching and in-depth and spiritual and loving stories, because that's what you're going to find here today. Good morning, Ellen. How are you? How are you? Ellen, can we ever get you on? Even if you don't show yourself and it's just a voice, can maybe we get you on at some point? What if I did a panel of chat? So I got Azario and I got Tami back and I got some more people. Would you join then? And if I made it private, maybe if we did something like really private, we didn't stream it online, we just streamed it to ourselves. Would that work? Because I'd be up for some sort of little Plaid Family. We get together for an hour and we chat. We don't broadcast that one. I would be up for something along those lines. But let me know. Let me know. Good morning, Marge Mitchell. Nate Clay. A good June day here, Jason. Awesome. But I see a Marge Mitchell saying good information from Facebook. Hi, Marge. I haven't seen your name before, so welcome. It's good to see you, and I hope you're finding good information in addition to what you've already found. If you hang out, you're going to hear a really, really touching story. So I hope you enjoy it, and come back. And make sure you subscribe. Let's get that subscribe button on the screen here for everybody. All right. Make sure you comment. Put all your comments. I do read them all. I will react to them in some way. So if you put a comment there, you might get a thanks very much or a response or a nice little thumbs up with a heart as well. So make sure you do comment. Subscribe. That was the new one picked by Tami. We went through a bit of a final decision on the subscribe buttons. And thank you very much, Tami. I do like it. Thank you to my chat lady and my chat group itself. You guys are amazing. Keep it going. It's a lot easier to have a show and talk to a screen when you do know there is somebody on the other side. It's a little weird to talk to a screen and see a big goose egg in the corner. So thank you all very much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope you keep coming back, and I hope I keep earning your viewership. So thank you. And remember, we're live streaming on Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So there's no excuses. No matter where you are, you should be able to find us. But thank you very much for being there. And if you like it, clip it. Now, we have been experimenting behind the scenes on how we're going to do clips. And we first tried to just do a couple, and then we used a tool that would push it out to Instagram and YouTube Shorts, and I don't like the format, and they have to be 60 seconds, and they're just too short. This is some of the stuff that you need a little bit more context. So what we're going to try now, because I don't think even our last attempt worked, where we were actually making them, and that took several hours to just make them and put them out there. Some of them got some traction, some of them were popular, and some of them were useful. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to time code links. So we'll take the main video. We'll find that spot that we want to kind of draw attention to. We'll get a time code for it, and then we'll share that. So instead of downloading the file, chopping it, encoding it, uploading it, labeling it, putting it all out there, we're just going to point people to specific parts of the video. And then if they want to continue watching further, they can. If they want to jump around and see what else is going on, they can. And they're also at the main video. So I think that will help with the algorithm. And I think that will help with getting more of the content to people. So please do that. So in YouTube, you can go to a certain spot, you can click share, and then you can push a little checkbox that says like time or at this time or start at this time, something along those lines. And that puts the time code into the link. And then that's exactly where somebody will end up when you give it to them. So if there's a part of this that you like, and there's like a 2, 3, 4, 10-minute part after that's interesting, you think, share it, please. Please share it. You got our full permission, consent. And in fact, I would get on my knees to beg if the camera could show it. Go ahead and share. There's nothing better than getting new eyeballs on this stuff. Thank you all so much. And then, of course, you can join our Discord. So let me go ahead and put that link in the chat again, because it does help to get people in that community. It's always beneficial when people get together to work on things. So this is something that we do on the Discord. Right now, we're working on pretty much the format of the show, guests, and we want to get back into some more research and sharing of information. So please go ahead and join the Discord. There you go. Thank you. It's in our chat now. All right, let's go ahead and take that off the screen there, Discord lady. I do have a special announcement. Oh man, I gotta maybe get my guy to drop those graphics down. We have a special announcement. Let me go ahead and bring it on. Now, you know that I am a pilot. Some of you know that I'm a pilot, small pilot, small planes pilot, single engine, land, day. Those are my restrictions. So I can fly anything that has one engine, over land, during the day. I probably will be losing that privilege. I have a feeling I might be put on a no-fly list. Why? Well, because we're going to have Jeremy McKenzie on. He's coming on Saturday. So we don't normally do Saturday episodes, but for Jeremy, well, we wanted to squeeze him in. He had availability. We're booked like all of June, so I didn't want to wait to July. And I'll be on the road, make my way to Winnipeg during this time. So I pull over, we'll set up camp, have dinner, and then put the show on. It's going to be running a later slot for us. So 6 p.m. Mountain, which would be 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to run for at least 2 hours. It might run longer than that. Love them, hate them, don't know them, have no opinion. Come check this out. Canada had made him out to be quite the boogeyman during the POEC, and it was unjustified. It was unfair. Basically, Diagonalong is a meme group. It's a comedy group out of Nova Scotia, kind of like Kids in the Hall, really scared and needed a boogeyman. They needed somebody. They went and grabbed whatever could look like a terrorist group, because they're not. They're simply not a terrorist group. Simply put, they're not. Non-violent. They're completely non-violent. But yet, that's what we got to see. The POEC, they had him in a jail cell, did a remote video, and had his testimony that way. I don't want to say I'm a fan, okay, because I'm a different type of person than Jeremy, and Jeremy is a pretty strong leader, and he definitely is a very opinionated person with less filters. I really don't have filters either. I just have a different vocabulary and a different way of doing it, a different style. But we certainly talk about very, very important issues. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. I've been trying to get him on the show for quite some time. And to anybody who's worked with or associated with, contributes to, or is just a fan of Diagonalong and has, let Jeremy know about the show and stuff like that, thank you. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate you checking it out and, letting them know that at least I appear to be a sane person worth talking to. So thank you very much, Jeremy, for saying yes. It took a poll about Rachel Gilmore. He commented on it. Then I did a poll with him. It was overwhelming that people wanted to see him or see him and her at the Coliseum armed. Those were the top two responses. See Jeremy on the show was a option. See Rachel on the show was the second option. To see both on the show was a third option. And to see both at the Coliseum armed was a fourth option. So 1 in 4 took it on this one. So Jeremy will be on. So thank you very much. If you're checking us out, doing a little bit of homework about what Jay does, thank you very much, Jeremy. I do appreciate it. We're going to chat about it. And as I was reminded on Twitter very quickly, there's a lot of dislike for you on both sides. So Jeremy is Canada's hope because he is the issue that everybody seems to agree on. So wedge issues are a good way to make change in this world, not just our country. So if Jeremy is the thing that a lot of people can agree on, we'll start there. Maybe we'll have a new Canada because there was some collective dislike for someone. I don't understand the dislike unless you listen to the media and you really buy that stuff. And on the right, kind of educate me. Why would some of you guys have a dislike for him? I don't dislike him. I think he's a very strong person. I would have a different opinion if he was a violent person and calling for anything along those lines, but he's not. He's not. Okay. His private life's his private life. He's going to deal with his private life. And we weren't there and we don't know what's going on in the private life. But his public life is very public. I have reviewed it. I've gone through it. He's no boogeyman. He's much more than that. So I'm looking forward to having him on Saturday. So mark your calendars and yeah, he'll be here. And a reminder that Randy Hillard is coming on too. And if you give me a second, I'll go and get the date of that one. Unless you have it in my chat. You know what? I'll pull that up during the video replay and I'll get that back to you. But it's, I want to say it's on Thursday. No, I don't want to misinform you. I'll get that information to you, but he's on soon. And then we got a bunch of other cool guests coming. Tomorrow is Donald Best. And then on Friday is Corey. Oh, I did it. Morgan. There we go. Morgan. Corey Morgan on Friday. Maybe I'll be better with him after I meet him and I've spent some time with him and that brain has him in there. But yeah, we'll check that out on Friday. And then Saturday, we're going to have Jeremy McKenzie. You won't see me on Sunday. We're going to be pretty tired and we'll be rolling into Winkler by that point. Winkler. But you will then see me like all day Monday. It should be, I haven't fully scheduled it, but it's probably going to be either one long stream for the day or a few long segments. I think because of file size and a bunch of things, I may have to break it up into segments. So let me think about that. All right. Do we have any more comments that we can go to? And then we'll go ahead and get on to the replay. I haven't been looking at the comments. Comment lady, has she gone to the bathroom? All right. So Ellen saying, oh, shucks to Tami, because she would join the show. So Ellen, yeah, come on the show. What do you think? Morning, sir. There we go. And then Ellen says, well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't finish my cert. They can't take it away. I guess I'm jumping into a conversation there, Ellen. I apologize. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, exactly, Ellen. These are the type of things that wouldn't come out of me. Okay. Some people don't get the jokes. Okay. And do you think Pierre was fair to him? Okay, so Pierre came out and said some things about Jeremy, which were incredibly rude. And I'm not seeing any press saying, hey, Pierre should apologize to Jeremy. So look, I'm not trying to, propel the guy up on a pedestal he doesn't belong on. He's got issues, but we are a forgiving group and intent matters. A whole bunch of things, but maybe we'll get into that, Ellen. Stick around and bring that up and we'll talk about it. But I remember when that comment came out and I was like, oh, that's not helpful. That's not helpful. Even if it's a in response to something, that's not helpful. And are we looking for perfection from Jeremy? I doubt it. Okay. Nobody gets to have that privilege of perfection. So look, and here's the thing too about being on a podcast. There's no rewind button and undo button when it's live. Okay. So when you are emotionally charged and you are a very strong leader and you do speak, sometimes you speak raw. Okay. So there's probably some frustration there. And look, that's also not his only fault. He's got others. Like he was picked up in Saskatchewan and that wasn't related to... Okay. The motivation to getting him picked up and start the charge and all that kind of stuff definitely could have been related to dying long and what the government was doing. But they stemmed from something personal and private. So again, I wasn't there. I don't know the details. Lots of people speculate, but the same type of people that speculate like that are the same people that say pretty gross and disgusting things about me and others that I know are not true. So it's very difficult to really listen to all of the chatter and understand what is true and what isn't true. But he will have all the time in the world if he wants to talk about that, and he can talk about that. But my goal is to understand more of what his future is and where he's going. His past is his past, and I do judge people based on actions and what they do, not based on rumors and stuff I don't know about. So what I want to know about from him is what is his future? Where is he going to go with this? Because I think Canada still needs him. I hope he's not hanging up his skates or anything like that. So I'm curious to see what he's doing. I know that the government has made things very difficult for him, bail conditions and stuff like that. But we'll have a chat with him about it and we'll talk about the things we can talk about. Pilot even, no pilot cert. Are you saying you have a pilot's license, Ellen? Is that what you're saying here? Are you saying that? I don't know. His words were twisted into a threat, but it isn't like he didn't make exactly. That's what I'm saying here, Ellen. Too. Like, okay. Um, Distasteful jokes, but still a joke. Dark jokes, still a joke. Crude, rude, and even obscene jokes, still jokes. Okay. I do not want to live in a world where jokes are not okay. Um, and in fact, I think that probably could be the biggest thing that Jeremy can make sure that we don't forget. And that is to stand up for the right to joke. Because if we can't even do that, um, that's an incredible level of compelled speech or not free speech. So if all that Jeremy does is he keeps comedy alive and keeps it legal, then he's won. And that would be an amazing victory for us. But I also think he can do some more. He's really getting people excited. So pilot. So are you saying pilot? I didn't finish it, so I'm safe. Oh, you did. Well, Ellen, I'm impressed. Paula started as well. So Paula was first trying to get her recreational one and then switched to her no, the recreational one is the one she switched to. The first one was the pilot's license, which allows you to fly with other people. And then you can get the recreational one, which means you can fly alone. And she was working on that. But when it got to spins and spirals, like the physical thing, like you had to get in an airplane, install it, and do some spins and spirals. Um, she's a mother. Ever since the babies, um, things don't hold. She gets motion sickness a lot easier now. So that became a challenge for her. So she kind of put up her flight jacket on that one, but she's landed the plane many times. She knows how to take off. She can fly the plane around. And we really wanted that ability. So if anything happened to little old me, she at least knows how to navigate and get down onto the ground at the airport. So that's great. But yeah, I might lose that license. Well, I might lose the ability to go on commercial. So maybe because of this flight, this interview, I'm going to have to just go private. Sorry. Yep, I'm one of them now. Bill Gates privately flying and laughing at you guys because you're doing all that carbon stuff and he's not. Right? Isn't that what a leader does? Maybe I should get used to doing stuff like that. But anyways, enough joking aside, because that might be illegal one day, and this is a recording. I'm happy to have Jeremy on. Happy to have questions asked to him. Make sure you think about them and get them into the chat, and we'll do our best to get to them. I saw Jeremy on Clyde channel talking about Polair's comment, and he apologized, and he came off very sincere. Well, I think what he would have done was apologize for the damage it did. Okay, because it did do damage, because all the headlines were Jeremy says this about Pierre's wife. So maybe apologize for the damage it caused. It was unintentional, but I wouldn't apologize for the joke. A joke's a joke. In fact, it was a joke about Bill Cosby that started that entire investigation and looking into Bill Cosby. That started with a joke about a comedian saying, "Hey, look, you guys let him do that. Ha ha ha." So no, jokes are powerful. Jokes can really expose things, and it also shows who has the ability to take a joke. Okay, but look, we all say things that we can sometimes wish we took back too. I don't think that that makes a human. I don't think that makes you a bad person. Your inability to recognize it and continue to do it, that might be an issue. But no, I have no problem having him on. Twitter seems to be half excited and half not. So we'll see how that one goes. All right, folks, we're moving on to the 30-minute mark here. Let me get this last one in here. Maybe take her practical in a C-152, almost impossible to stall, let alone spin. Yeah, Ellen, but one of the requirements for getting your license completed before you can even take the test is to complete the section on stalls and spirals. So they'll take you up into 172 and do exactly that. You're not wrong. The 152 is very stable, and we had the 182. So we actually had the larger version of the 172. That too is very stable. It's hard to stall that one and spin that one. It's not recommended because it's not an aerobatic frame. Like they make these 152s, they're very strong frames because they're used for students. But the 182 is not meant for that. But it's hard to put them into it, really. But she did the 172, did some spins, and that was enough for her. I've said many dumb things that I regret. Learn from my mistakes, for sure. For sure. Can you imagine living a lifestyle where everything you said is being listened to by people that don't like you, waiting for you to say something, to clip it, to get it out there? It's a lot along the lines of being a leader. Like Pierre, Justin, even Trump, and even Biden, all of them enter jobs where half the people wish they weren't there. That would suck. Like, yeah, that'd be a pretty tough environment. And then a lot of the people inside there are trying to get you out, trying to backstab you, trying to help their careers, trying to get a leg up on your corpse, all this stuff. It's a mess. So, props or respect anybody who steps into the public light to do stuff. Don't necessarily have to agree with what they do, but just the fact that they're doing it, there's a built-in respect for that. So good job on them. This is so cool that you can fly a plane, Ellen. It is really neat. Tami, and you can too. You can go up for that first introductory flight. They usually make you charge an hour, so it'll be around 100, 150 bucks. But you'll fly it. And you'll see if it's for you. It's worth it. Give it a shot. I can ride a bike. Yeah, well, maybe we'll start to have to get a private Jeremy McKenzie airline going so that all of us could fly. It would be a good airline, I think. We'll have his goat fly the plane, be at least a co-pilot. All right, folks. So that'll be the end of the chat. Let's go ahead and get into the video. So yesterday I had the honor, utmost pleasure, and frankly, this is one of my favorite interviews, was with Tami. It wasn't scripted. We kind of just had talking points just laid out just to generally keep me on track and make sure I didn't forget anything. But this is as raw as it gets. Totally raw. She's not a professional speaker. She is a mother. Okay. She is a strong advocate for her son. She is a stunning example of the type of parents we need. She will stand up and talk and find out, go to, inquire, get her nose into things, find out what's really going on, and then have her say. This is the template for parents in Canada. So I want you all to pay really close attention. If you're not a parent, maybe one day you will be. Maybe you support parents. But check this one out. This is the example of what a Canadian mother should be. And she knows how valuable a father is and a male figure and a man. She is a spectacular woman. So I really hope you enjoy this video with her. It runs a little bit long. So grab your coffee, maybe two, and check out Tami.
Hello.
Hello, Tami. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing? Hi, chat.
Good.
I'm waving at my TV. The chat's over there. I'm like, hi,
chat. Yeah. Does it feel different being on this side of the camera and not watching it from the other side?
Yes. Yeah. and it's weird having the headset in and seeing the chat moving over here and trying to see, because I'm blind as a bat without my glasses on. So I'm winging it. But I hate myself with glasses. So I try not to wear them.
You look good on this side. You got a bit of a halo effect going at the top there with the light. It's like God has blessed you for this moment. It looks very good.
We had some wild weather today. It went from it was raining, then it went into a full-blown thunderstorm, and one cracked right over the house and shook the whole house. And then it turned to hail. I was like, only in Canada.
Can you give their 3-day forecast as well, seeing how we're doing the meteorology report right now?
Oh yeah. Wait, that's my son. He's the meteorologist. He knows all that stuff.
And I like the shirt, Super Canada woman. What you got there?
Thank you. It took me forever to find this. They had the United States one, and I was like, can we please get a Canadian one? And I finally found it. So I was really excited. I don't know if you can kind of tell in behind me all my Superman stuff. I'm a nerd.
Oh wow. Yeah, you like the superheroes?
Yeah.
So who's the better one? Who is the best superhero? Is there a best one?
Superman. Absolutely, without a doubt, Superman for sure. And then Wonder Woman.
But can you transition to a Superman? Like, how's this work? I'm not sure what modern Superman means.
Well, then I would
today.
Oh, I mean, well, yeah, I could be Kara Zor-El. My dog's name's Kara Zor-El. I named her after Supergirl.
Oh, very neat. And you also do a lot of graphic design?
I do. Me and my mother co-own a company called T&T Pro Designs, and we both do 3D work. My mom does also other like graphic work for people, like promotional stuff like your graphics. like the
Yeah.
add a comment or big announcements. She does stuff like that too. I stick with the 3D models.
Well, we just put a new subscribe on. Let me get your opinion on it because I don't know. Where did it go? There it is. There. What do you
Oh, all
think?
right. You're getting it. You're getting my glasses. Oh, I like it.
We're getting there. We're getting there. And then we got this one. We're still debating. We got this guy too. What do you think?
That one kind of looks like everybody else's. I like the other one better.
Oh, you like to stand out and look different. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just did a democratic process there, and we've now voted in the new subscribe button. So make sure you now subscribe and use this button, everybody. Hit the bell. Ding, ding, ding. Let's do all that too. Thank you, Tami. That was a good plug.
Yeah, not a problem. Glad I could help.
Pro. You're a pro. You've done this before, I can tell.
I've been in front of cameras. I've been on stage. I'm a performer by nature, but
that's cool.
That almost sounds bad.
No, performers. We didn't get into anything bad. We can get into we can certainly get into weird subjects around that. I just want to say hello to Railroaded. Let's bring that message back up there, my magic chat person. Railroaded, hello, honk honk, toot toot. Nice to see you. Been a while. It's been a while, but I'm very glad that you come back and you're making some dinner, working on your supper. Good to see you, Tami. Or sorry, Railroaded. I got so many people's names in my head right now. It's been an exciting day, that's for sure.
It has been, yeah.
And Ellen brings up a very controversial question. So let's go ahead and start with that. What is a superwoman?
In my opinion?
Is it a grown female or is it something else? Like, what is the definition of a superwoman?
Okay, well, I'm a superwoman. That would be a magnificent woman who is an adult biological female, and she's just super in every way. So she's a hero in her own right.
So you said the entire sentence without using identity, identify, or diversity. So well done.
I asked my dentist last week, what is a woman? And she went, ooh, I don't know how to answer that. And I'm like, oh God, even the dentist can't answer.
Oh wow. I guess we have to go back to sex ed for real. Like maybe we skipped that or something because something's gone really wrong there.
Absolutely.
Now you shared something with me just before we came on, which I thought was pretty interesting. Something about what you did on Facebook, and you kind of let people know something. Want to let everybody know what you did?
I call this my coming out party. As some people have said, I'm very liberal, so they always saw me in a certain light. And when this whole gender ideology stuff started, I got very angry. And the more you saw, the angrier I got. But every time I would try to say something on Facebook, they pile on you. And it was like, oh, so it's like going back into the closet. So today I posted our link to this live stream on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, Tami Croft on Facebook. And so it's my coming out party. Now everybody's going to know how I really feel.
Well, that's amazing. So your friends and family don't know how you feel about the gender ideology. They don't know how you feel about shows like this.
Some friends, some family, but for the most part, no.
And just to clarify, who did you vote for, if you don't mind, in the last
NDP.
Election?
NDP.
Okay, so you were an NDP supporter, which a lot would say is a progressive left-wing group, and they got your vote. They earned your vote, and then they lost it. And they lost it pretty quick, I guess.
Well, I started voting when Jack Layton was running for NDP, and Jack Layton, he really spoke to me as a human, as a Canadian, as a woman, and I just loved him. And so I said, okay, I'm going to vote NDP. It was the first time I'd ever voted. It was in my 30s, and I'd never voted before. I'd never been political, really. And then, of course, when Jagmeet Singh took over, you just kind of go with the flow. But I can tell you the exact moment I said, you'll never get my vote again.
Yes, please do. Sure.
When he stood next to Justin Trudeau and said that anybody who supported the trucker convoy had the blood of white supremacists running through their veins. And I said, you will never get my vote ever again. I was the only one of my family and friends that supported the convoy. And that was very isolating for me. And that's how I ended up finding your channel.
Oh, wow. And so from the POEC is kind of how you found it then?
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine being a NDP voter, even if you didn't support the convoy, a comment like that sounds icy and cruel to other Canadians.
Mhm.
So you supported the convoy, but could you also see how that would be an incredibly divisive statement, even if you didn't support the convoy?
Yes, absolutely. I think both him and Trudeau calling everybody Nazis and supremacists and racists and bigots. And it's like, oh, shut up with your garbage. They just look to divide us because they know if we unite together on both
Hmm.
sides, we'll overrun them. And they know
So
it.
for Yeah, and you're not wrong. So for you, it was the convoy comment. So we'll call it Singh's convoy comment. And then was this before or after some of the child gender ideology, or is that kind of compounded after, or kind
It
of when did
came
that
in.
come into the picture for you?
It came in after. I didn't even realize that it was happening right under my nose.
Hmm.
And my son came home and said, "Did you know I could be a drag queen?" And I went, I was like, "What?" He totally took me aback. And I was like, okay, if when you're older you want to, we can talk about it. And he goes, "No, I can be a drag queen right now." And I said,
How old is he?
"No." 12. He's 12 now, but he was 10 at the time.
So grade
And
5.
yeah. And I said, "No." And he's like, "But there's drag kids." And I said, "And there shouldn't be." And he goes, "But there is drag kids." And I went, "And there shouldn't be." And so that's when I knew I ended up having to have a conversation. They had
Yeah.
played these drag kids and drag queens over the morning announcements from ages 4 to 14. And I was
Explain this
like,
to me. What does this mean?
what do you mean?
Like they're playing something on the announcement, like they're playing a
A
file, or they're
video.
talking
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
video.
They like a video. I think it was Desmond the Great, that
Oh,
little
yes,
dry kid.
yes.
I think it was
Yeah.
him. And oh, I had just seen his video. I had just started to learn about this stuff, what was going on in schools. And I had just seen Desmond the Great, and he was talking about snorting ketamine off a couch, and he's going, like this. And I was just like, he's 11. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So when my son came home and said, well, they showed it on the morning announcements to ages from 4 to 14, I was like, yeah, no. So I went to the school the next day and I said, "So when do you start teaching LGBTQ stuff?" And she goes, "Oh, we've already started." I was like,
Mhm.
"Excuse me?" And then her eyes bugged out of her head. Like she became so scared. And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, easy. I'm, I'm okay. I have no issues with LGBT. I was just curious what you're teaching my kid." And she said, "Oh, just the basics."
The basics of LGBT.
And I went, "Okay." And it spiraled after that because then I got into the weeds. I went down the rabbit hole, you know what I mean? And oh, Jason, the underbelly of this thing is disgusting. It is pure pedophilia, pure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean,
No,
they've
you're not
got
wrong.
there's some old 60-year-old guy wearing a Desmond the Great shirt and it says trans kids are sexy. And I was like, you know what? I've been in this community since I was 15. And back when I was 15, you would have been killed for wearing that shirt. Plain and simple,
Yeah,
30 years
you're
ago.
not yeah, you're not wrong. Like we made fun of it on Family Guy, right? There was a Family Guy character. We
Mm-hmm.
made fun of this, and now it kind of went real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, even opposing it turns you into an enemy. Well, enemy of them, sure, but a phobe and a phobic and all this other stuff. And worthy of being canceled and losing your job and harassed. Like it's incredible how quickly we became victimized through this. And I hate that word because it's not exactly how I feel at all. But they're trying to make us that way. And they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to get us to feel victimized and trying to accept the role of a victim in this. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
that we would just surrender or something. You're not a victim of this. You're a fighter of this. So what happened after the school and you started looking into it? Did you have a chat with your son? Did you have another chat with the school?
I did have a chat with my son. Now, you have to understand, like I said just a second ago, I've been a member of the LGBTQ community since I was 15. I
Okay.
started working at a magazine shop and the owners were gay. Didn't know they were gay for almost a year because they never mentioned it. They didn't care. It wasn't a big deal. So when I found out they were gay, it was no big deal to me. I'm a huge Freddie Mercury fan. Everybody knows Freddie Mercury is gay. Everybody
Yep.
knew Elton John was gay. We had gay people. You know, I joke, when I was 13, I was like, I got gays to the left of me, lesbians to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yeah. So it was no big deal. But now they're making it a big deal. They're shoving it in everybody's faces. And it's like, whoa, this was never what the community was about. So me and my son has uncles that are gay. Our dog trainer is a trans man. I met my first trans woman when I was 20. So I've always been okay with the community because they never felt the need to shove it down my throat.
Sure.
Until
Sounds
now.
like you're a typical bigot then, right? You
I know,
bigot,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Hardcore.
So everything went well after that, right? They listened to you and listened to some of your points.
Yeah, Nicholas, he was okay with it. He just doesn't care. He saw two guys kissing once and he went, oh, they're in love. And then he just walked away. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I just want him to see people as people, you know?
But then when the indoctrination comes to him and then it comes and shows up at your table because he's bringing to you the fact that there's a thing called drag kids. I've never heard that term before. That's insane.
Me either.
And the fact that they would play any video that has sexuality in it as part of their welcome to the day announcement, that's incredible. We had the Queen, we had the anthem. That was it.
That teacher was fired, needless to say.
Okay, so this wasn't like school endorsed. This was just a teacher going beyond the
I think, well, the school endorsed the video that was showed to everybody, but I guess his teacher was doing it every single day in the classroom. But one thing I need to point out, my son is on the autistic spectrum. So he doesn't give a rat's whatever you're talking about. If he's into his thing, that's all he's focused on. So he wasn't paying attention the way other kids were. And other kids were going home to their parents and saying, oh, every day, all she does is LGBT. And so she was let go at the end of the year and asked not to return. Good, and so I was like, okay. And nothing this year, nothing. I'm good friends with a lot of my son's EAs and stuff, and they keep me fully apprised of what's going on. And I've checked our public library. I've checked his school library. I've checked his classroom to make sure none of these filthy books are anywhere near my kid or any kid for that matter.
Where are you located? Ontario?
Yes. I'm originally from London, Ontario, and 12 years ago, I moved to a small farming town just outside of London.
Very cool. Okay. And now I guess you've kind of cleaned out that school, but I guess you see how this works. They just send in one bad apple and then that bad apple spreads. So it sounds like you guys sniffed that one out and got out pretty quick.
I think we did.
Yeah. Have you considered being part of the teacher board, the school board there?
I don't even know how to go about doing it. I feel... I don't really know anybody. I've lived here 12 years and I don't really know anybody here. I kind of keep to myself, and that has a lot to do with what happened in my past. And I kind of, like I was talking to you last night via Twitter and just kind of like letting you know, and I kind of really became a recluse. And so I'm now, again, starting to come out of the closet.
Well, if you're going to do it, a Canada-wide live broadcast is one way to do it. So good for you. I appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, you keep using the term coming out of the closet to explain, at least to your friends and family and to us, how this actually feels to you, because you kind of feel like you are coming out of the shadows, you're kind of hiding a bit, and now you're coming out and you're going to be proud about it. Is that how you feel right now? And that's because you keep using that term?
I'm still a little nervous because I've already lost friends. I got called a TERF. A couple years ago because I showed empathy towards a detransitioner. And I was like, wow, you're going to unfriend me because I showed empathy towards someone who has gone through the fires of,
Yes.
And
well, that says everything about that friend. So, bullet dodge there. They can self-delete themselves from your circle. That's not a bad thing. But it does kind of open your eyes a little bit on that friend or maybe friends like that. So when your eyes start to open up and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I thought we were cool. but I guess we're cool only when I don't disagree with you. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So what did it start to feel like to you to actually see people that you know and you cared about and genuinely made relationships with be that way to you all of a sudden for nothing other than opinion?
Well, her and I had been friends for just over a decade. So it was disheartening.
Hmm.
Uh, but I said I wished her no ill will. I said, okay, you're gonna have your opinions. I'm gonna have mine. I wish you nothing but love and success. She's an author. I said, I wish you continued success in your writing career.
Yeah.
And I just moved on. I said, I can't do this. I can't worry too much about it because if I do, it's going to continue just keeping me scared.
Yeah.
And I'm never
Yeah.
going to say anything.
And did you start identifying other people around you that you suspect might be the same way?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of it's like I don't know if you were ever a smoker or anything like that. But to all the people that used to be a smoker, one of the first things you realize when you quit smoking is how much smokers smell because they're
That's
just
me.
everywhere.
I am a smoker. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's not an offensive smell. It's just when you're a smoker, you don't notice. Like all your friends are around you, you just don't notice it. And then
I
when you
get it from my
quit,
son a lot. Yeah, my son, he's always
yeah,
like, "Mom, you smell like smoke." I said, I'm trying to quit. I'm trying to quit.
yeah. But this could kind of be the same way. Like once you get out of that mindset and you're no longer in that group, you can kind of see how much they stink. It's like, oh, I don't like that attitude. Oh, you don't like me for
But
empathy? Like that's not cool.
yeah, but for me, what I'm feeling when it comes to a lot of my friends on Facebook is a lot more of them think like me than they're willing to admit. But people
Right.
are so scared to come forward and speak the truth, and because they like we talked about, you could lose your job. You could lose,
Hmm.
well, now in Canada, you could almost lose your kid. You could go
Yeah.
to jail. You can get fined. And so I kind of understand where people are coming from. I just wish uh, that they would be honest, because when you see this, there's there's just no way you can condone it. Like you
No.
just can't.
And if you can, then there's something really wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just no, it's weird. It's gotten really, really weird.
And it's also weird that we have to make statements like protect the children for real. Like that used to
I
be a meme that used to just be a little thing at the end that we would say, don't forget the children. But we actually mean this now. It's happening for real.
hmm that, and how sad is that? Because I remember I was like, it wouldn't have mattered if you were gay, straight, white, black, Muslim, Christian. It wouldn't have mattered. We all agreed that this type of behavior is predatory. It's
Right.
pedophilia and it's wrong. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh no, it's normal. It's normal. It's like,
No, it's
no, it's not.
yeah, I'm not sure when someone normalized this. As the chat was mentioning, there's a term called MAP. So, minor attracted people. This is where we're at. So we have, there used to be a group, something like men with boys or something, but now we have an entire organization coming together called minor attracted people. Tammy, I think you're coming out at the right time. I think you're speaking out at the right time. I think you're showing some strength right at the right time. You definitely will have some impact on some people around you because they may look at you and say, "Hey, I feel the same way, but I didn't want to say it."
That's what I'm
So
hoping. And if they know
yeah,
that more people are around that say, hey, we got your back, you can speak up, we're here for you, then maybe more people won't be so afraid to speak up.
and I think that's exactly what you're accomplishing today. So I was really proud and humbled to hear that you were using this show as your way of kind of coming out of the liberal closet and let everybody know that you've seen some light. Like your own leader said some really disgusting things. That was
Mm-hmm,
one of your bigger um, flags, and then you started to see this doctrination of the children, the attack on Canadians for medical choice.
mm-hmm,
Uh, None of this could have made you feel sane when it was all happening. Like what kind of world do we live in now? Because when you come out of that bubble of you're just following along doing what everybody says and you're kind of cool with that, and you come out of that bubble to like, oh, wait a minute, they've lied about this, they pushed hard on that. When they accused this group of that, it turns out that group wasn't that and they
mm-hmm.
shouldn't have been, harassed. That's got to be a bit of a, I'm going to say, a spiritual rocking for you. Like not just political, but spiritual as well. That
Yeah.
you're realizing really what kind of world you're in.
Yeah. I'd been feeling off for years. I was getting really angry with how women were being treated. I was getting really mad with how men were being treated, how white Christian men were being treated. I'm not Christian myself. I've never been baptized, but I grew up in the 80s, so church was a thing, a very big thing, back
Mhm.
when like liberals and conservatives were a little bit more aligned. So I still have very Christian values, even though I was never baptized. But I was getting really mad that, oh, men are misogynistic. Oh, F the patriarchy. And I was just like, why do you keep dunking on white Christian men? Like you act like none of these other people are, you know, but, I'm trying to be as PC as I can, you
Yeah.
know, but, but it's like you act like they are the result of all your issues when you yourself could have taken control and stepped away from that and found yourself. But we're like, especially as a liberal, we're so used to the victim mentality.
Hmm.
We throw out as many victim cards as we can. Man, the TikTok is wild.
Yeah.
The victim cards they throw out over there. I'm like, this is like just a mental illness infestation over here. But so sorry, back to what I was saying. Things just didn't line up. Things weren't
Hmm.
feeling right. And I said to my mom, I said, the energy on this planet is different right now. And this was back in about 2018 when the
Okay.
pronouns were like all the rage and zay zem zare. And I was like, yeah, no, not happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm feeling a shift and it's not in a good way. And I said, something big is coming, Mom. I said, I can't explain it. I can't tell you what it is or when it's going to happen, but something bad is coming towards us. And boom, the pandemic hit. And I was like,
Okay.
you know, and then it just spiraled from there. It went from being the pandemic, being in lockdown. It ruined my marriage, which just is like,
Would you like to get into that?
we can. When the pandemic hit, we obviously went into lockdown. My husband had stopped taking his medications and he just went nuts one night and he threatened to hurt me and then he hit me and the police were called and he was removed. So then they put a hold where you're not allowed to see each other for X amount of time. We did that. We started working on things to try and get our family back together because we took
Yeah.
vows. We meant those vows and we were going to try to work them out. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out. And my husband passed away last year. And he died alone, which really, really bothers me. And his body was found on my birthday. So I got the call on my birthday that he had passed away suddenly. And yes, I use that term. I can't prove if jibby jabby was the cause, but I read one study that had said, and I can't find this study again. So if anybody knows where this study is, please, it's one of the vaccines caused an increased risk of seizures.
Okay.
And my husband had a pre-existing seizure condition. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he would have liked to have known that
Right.
before he went
Right.
and got. So I hit rock bottom after he passed away. I thought my life was over. And I didn't know where to go from there. I felt lost and alone. And I was already being bombarded with feeling like I was being erased as a woman,
Hmm.
um, feeling like I was the only person who supported, not getting the jibby jab. I was the only person that did not want the jibby jab. And my mother was going through a really difficult time. She had breast cancer and was going through radiation treatment. And she stopped her radiation treatment because she had an allergic reaction. And she was also compromised because of her weight. She has COPD, bronchitis, asthma, and the fear mongering that our government did. when they said, "You're going to kill grandma," my son
Right.
looked at me and said, "You're going to kill grandma." And I was like, so I caved. I held out as long as I could, but my mom sat there and she cried and she said, "Please, Tami, just get it. I don't want to die." And
Mm.
you don't want your mom to die. So I went and I took the jab, even though I didn't want to. But seeing how cruel people were to each other during all of it, I was like, this is not Canada. Gas the unvaxxed, fine them, put them in jail, don't give them health care. Are you insane? I believe in freedom of choice. If you didn't want to get the jibby jabby, you should never have been coerced to. And thank God love all of you guys who stood strong and said, nope, not doing it. God love you. Because I couldn't do it. I caved. And I
I'm
got
so
really, really sick, by the way. I got really, really sick. And then my whole family got COVID, except for me.
I'm so sorry about that mother part, that your mom sat you down, very emotional, very scared. Her fear got into you, and I'm so sad that she had that much fear, that she even felt that she can ask you to do something you didn't want to do. I'm trying to push myself into her shoes at that moment, and the amount of fear there, that you would ask your own kid to do something that they don't want to do, just because you're worried that it will hurt you if they don't. That's, even for her, it must have been tearing her apart inside to even ask you to do that.
She has apologized to me, but her cancer doctor basically looked at her and said, if you get this, you're as good as dead. You are
Oh, the
definitely
COVID.
going to die.
So that's the fear from the cancer treatment. The doctor there put that into her.
Mhm. Yep,
Did she end up getting COVID? You said your whole family got it.
she
Did she
did.
also get it?
She
And she's
got
still
it.
with
Yeah.
us.
And she's still with us. Yeah. And my dad got it and he's still with us and he's in his 70s. And they, how they were telling grandpas, oh, you should get it too. You're
Yep.
old.
Yep.
My son got it twice, but he's not vaccinated. There was no way in heck I was doing that. I was like, okay, I'm one, I'm an adult. I know the risks. Well, actually, I didn't at the time. I
Right.
didn't know the risks. I just knew that they had rolled this thing out way too fast. They'd been talking about population control for years, and then suddenly a pandemic hits, and suddenly a vaccine is out there, and I'm going, okay, this all just does not feel right on any level. And I haven't been immunized or vaccinated, like flu shotted, since I was in my 20s. So
Right.
I'm not for jibby jabs, but I am pro-choice. If you want the jibby jab and it makes you feel safer or protected, then go for it. But don't force me to do it, and don't force anybody else to do it. And don't sit there and be cruel to another person because they choose not to do something that you're like so heck bent on doing.
So other than your mom, was there any other motivators, like your work or for travel or for anything else? Was there any other motivators that were pushing you towards it?
It was just my mom. I'm on disability. Now
Okay.
you know. Um,
Okay.
I'm on disability because wow, we're gonna jump topics real. I have complex PTSD with dissociative disorder, and I started to disassociate in broad daylight. And my doctor was like, I don't really think you should be working anymore.
Okay. And how are you doing with that now? You sound great to me. You seem to be doing fine.
Yeah, I got off all my meds. I was on Zoloft, and it made me end up going psycho. I became very angry and aggressive, so I got off all my meds, and I just, like I told you in an email last night, I found Jordan Peterson.
I was going to go
And
into that. So you found
yeah,
something to listen to and stimulate your brain, and start working on that.
yep. And the first video I watched by him, he was talking about God,
Right.
and I just burst into tears. And as I told you, I tried to self-delete, and his video was the very first video I seen when I came to. So
Right. So let's let people understand what you're talking about here. So you made a decision, and then you woke up the next day, and then
mhm,
Jordan Peterson was the first thing that happened after you failed at your decision.
mhm.
And from that point on, you want to go and continue?
Onward and upward. Dealing with mental illness is a struggle all in itself, but and it wasn't the first time that I tried to self-delete. But
Okay.
it will be the last time because I'm in a much better place now. And I find it weird that I try to check out, and the first video that I see when I come to is a video of Jordan Peterson talking about God. And I
Oh.
was like, for whatever reason, in that moment, I needed to hear him saying those words. And it really woke me up. And I went, all right, I know what I got to do now. And then it became finding my voice, learning to be okay with having an opinion, that I don't have to follow the liberal hive mind. You know, it's
Mhm.
okay to think differently than them. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Well, unless you're condoning pedophilia, then I don't like you. But,
Right.
you know, if you have an opinion about something that I don't share, if it's not hurting anybody, I don't care. It's just, you know, if it's not concerning me or concerning my community or concerning my country, you know, and my fellow countrymen, then, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion, whether I agree with it or not, as long as it ain't hurting anybody, right?
For sure. For sure. And you continue to follow Jordan Peterson? You've checked out some of his other stuff, maybe picked up a book or two, went through it. What's your journey with Jordan right now?
Wow. Jordan Peterson led me to a whole bunch of other people. Speaking off, like, sorry, my ADHD is going nuts.
I'm good. We're good.
My brain is going all over the place. You and I need to review What is a Woman, because I have a really cool Matt Walsh story.
Okay.
We really do sometime.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm a
Jordan
big fan of
Peterson,
him.
yeah, me too. And Matt actually was filming What is a Woman when I was first introduced to his channel.
Okay.
And he brought me to tears, man. I for the first time in a really long time, I felt like a man was standing up for women. And it felt personal in a way, like he was standing up for me, you know? And it was a really great feeling. And I'm so glad that I did get to watch the film.
That's a really interesting way to put it. That's the first time I heard someone say that before. Normally, if somebody talked like that, it would be, "Wow, you're oppressed by males and you're surrendering yourself to males, or you need to be taking care of males and you need to be a strong female." But I understand what you're saying. It's not necessarily that he is male and you're female. There's a certain presence, there's a certain male energy that he has that really feels supportive. It feels encouraging. Is that what you're
Mhm.
referring to?
Yeah, absolutely. And because of my history, my childhood, and the abuse that I suffered, I no longer trusted men. And
Yeah.
because it led me down a path of absolute destruction, self-harming, you know, trying to self-delete, one bad relationship after another. I just knew how to pick them. You know, I went for every wrong guy I could find. And then you start to go, well, it's not me, it's them. They're evil guys. And you get
Mm,
into that liberal hive mind, right?
right.
So you're like, it's them, it's all guys' fault. But then there's that conservative part of me that always was like, what are you talking about, fool? You know, all men aren't like this. Shush your mouth, you know. So I was fighting with myself in my own brain because
Yeah,
I
it
knew
sounds like
better.
yeah, it sounds like you had the little devil and the angel on your shoulder, and the angel sitting on your right shoulder.
I
Um,
actually joke that I have a little Alex Jones sitting on my
mhm.
shoulder, and every now and then he goes, you know, that doesn't look right. And I was like, and I'm like, maybe you're onto something, Alex.
Yeah, we got to work on an Alex Jones impersonation because he's great. He's great. He's hard to take in long doses though, and you
Yeah,
really have to, clear out your mind between them.
he's got an energy like nothing. Like he gets his like rag and he's just like, and you're just like, whoa, guy, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I know his energy is super high, but it could be passion, it could be whatever, it could be fear, it could be a whole bunch of things for him. But yeah, he's one of those voices that you have to take in doses. You don't take too
Yeah.
much of those ones. But yeah, it's cool. But Jordan Peterson is definitely one of the ones who's been waking up a lot of people. And when he was doing a bit of the rounds and the media was coming down on him, they were talking about him as some sort of like incel leader, the lost guys, the boys who don't know what they're doing type of thing. But it was very quick. First, that was debunked right away, but it was becoming very obvious that there was a lot of women also following Jordan. This is not a male only type of thing. And then here we go. Here you're obviously a female, and no transitions. You're born this way. And yeah, you woke up from a very bad night, went and saw Jordan, and then started to connect with him, and then felt his presence in a masculine type of way, which
Yes.
really, which really added to your life. How do we get more people to understand that that presence is real and it is valuable and it can help a lot of people, instead of just flat out rejecting the fact that he is preaching, he's a male, he is not part of the left? How do we get more people exposed to Jordan or people like Jordan?
I wish I could tell you. In all honesty, I think everybody's journey is unique to themselves, and you get
Mhm.
some people who want to move sorry, and then some people who are perfectly content in being in that woe is me role. And those people, you're probably not going to wake up. I mean, all we can do is just keep talking, and
Right.
hopefully the more we talk, we'll pick up one here, one there, one here, one there, and then five here, five there, and hopefully it just keeps growing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this comment here coming up from True North here. Jordan Peterson had a super emotional reaction to the incel argument, and he actually said someone needs to give the incels a voice. I remember that one. Yeah,
I remember
absolutely.
too. Yep. And he
It
said,
made
why
me,
not?
yeah, it made me tear up too, because if you're not an emotional person, or if you're not even a human, or something's wrong with you, if you can't watch that clip or a couple of his other ones and understand that this guy is sacrificing it all, he knows it. He could do an easier life. He could really just scale back on some of his conversation points and take a really comfortable life. He's not. He's sacrificing it all. And this is why I had a tweet just the other day that said, I only know of really two Canadians who are completely sacrificing it all: Jordan Peterson, Maxime Bernier. Those are the two that really don't have to do what they're doing, but there they are. And they're standing up for us. Now,
I
you
got to,
watched,
oh, sorry.
go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say, you watched that interview with Maxime, and yeah, you have any
I
comments?
did. No, I have a funny Maxime Bernier story.
Oh, let's go to that.
I said to my mom, I said, there's some things about conservatives that I really like. There's some things about liberals I like, and there's some stuff about NDP. And I was like, if I could just take all the things that I like and mash it all together and make the perfect candidate, I would. In walks Maxime Bernier. I'm like, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's how I was like, never heard of the PPC before ever. Like I said, I was not very political, but I knew
Hmm.
when I started this culture war that I should know something about politics so that I understood what the government was doing in regards to this. And that's how I was like, there he is, the candidate that I've always wanted. He's got everything.
Yeah, hearing a former NDPer say that, we hear that a lot. I got to tell you, I'm not in the PC party, but I do talk to PC people. Obviously, you've seen on here, and
Yes.
that is a very, very common theme, that NDPers are the ones that are moving over to PPC, and I could see why. Because you guys are people. You're for the people. You do try to be people. You're trying to be the best version of you can be, and you're trying to get along with your neighbors the best you can. I get it. I totally get
Yep.
it. And then I can see why the People's Party would attract you. Now, you mentioned you have a little piece of conservatism in you. Was that always in you? Was that something that had to grow? And
No,
for
it's
a
always been
while,
there. Mhm.
and did you suppress it at all to hang out with the people you were with and stuff? Because I'm sure a couple of times that little conservative voice would have said, "Ooh, I didn't like that," but you don't necessarily bring it up and say anything. Did that happen to you?
Um, well, see, again, I grew up in the 80s and we all kind of had more conservative values back then,
Hmm.
but we all got sucked into the liberal world as, liberals started to take over. But because of us having those Christian values, those conservative values, we still held on to them, whether or not we actually spoke out loud about it. We
Hmm.
knew that we had them. And me and my friends and my family, we've always been able to talk about what we believe in and what we don't, what we stand for, what we don't stand for, what we will tolerate, what we won't tolerate. Like I said, I've always tried to be as center as humanly possible,
Hmm.
only to realize I wasn't. But I'm trying to be now. I like
Yeah, no,
hearing
that's good.
people's opinions from all sides, all walks of life. Whether I agree with you or not, I love having conversation.
And that was kind of my next point. So you found us during the POEC days, and I was definitely I'm right wing, I'm conservative, I am the poster boy for everything they hate, married, children, everything about me is the thing that's not to be anymore. But yet here you are, you're still checking me out. So what brought you to this stream? What kept you at this stream for so long?
Okay, for since I've been on YouTube, which started many years ago, I'd never been introduced to Canadian content. They wouldn't recommend it. I wasn't being recommended Canadian content anywhere. And then on Twitter, I started talking a little bit more openly about the convoy. And my husband, even my own husband, he's like, it's psychological warfare. I was like, what are you, crazy? Because he thought they were honking all day, every day.
Right.
And so I started to kind of look into things. And I don't know if you know of a YouTube channel called War Campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They were doing live streaming from there. And from what I could see, what the media was showing you was not what was happening. So I kind of put my ear to the ground and started paying attention. And suddenly Canadian content started being recommended to me. So I found you, and I love the little guys. I'm always there for the little guys. And so I'd see you and the other ones. Okay, they've got, 1,000 people watching their stream. Jay's only got X amount. I'm going over to Jay's and throwing my support his way because I'm always for the little guy, because I've always been the little guy. So
I appreciate that. At this stage, it's definitely a compliment. At this stage, it's for sure. That's exactly how I feel. I'm grassroots, independent. I don't have much going on. And that was always my concern. Sorry, that was my concern when I started it was, am I too little and people are going to be drawn to the big ones? I'm not the big light in the field, so am I going to catch any moss? So I'm pleased that there are people out there that said, hey, look, let's check out that little guy and see what he's doing. And I guess you liked it.
Yes, you have a great personality. I like the way you interact with people. I like the way you talk with people. You're willing to hear other points of views, even if you don't necessarily agree. And you have this calmness to you. You're not into bashing anybody or putting anybody down. You're just chill. And I was like, this is a vibe I can get with for sure.
Yeah, and it's something I wasn't finding either. Like when I was doing my stuff, like there's a lot of pundits out there that I enjoy. Shapiro's a good one. I even like Crowder, Stephen Crowder, Matt Walsh for sure. I did a lot of mowing of the lawns with him in my ear. I enjoyed him even when, like back in the day when he was just doing it out of his car. And he hasn't changed. He's the same dude that he's always been. He's just gotten, like, his show's gotten bigger and his reach got bigger. But I really connected a lot with Matt Walsh because he's got a religious background and he has a firm position on what he believes in and what he believes is right. And it is, a lot firmer than most people. But I kind of follow his teaching that we need an anchor in our world. And if you don't have an anchor, you're just going to be drifting all over the place.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I was drawn to that too. Now, my wife was probably hearing a lot of the compliments that you gave there and said, oh, you don't fully know him. Because I have my days as well. I have my days as well. But I do appreciate that. I'm trying to provide the show that I would watch, and I don't like being yelled at. And I like to think. So that's kind of what I'm trying to provide here as well. So I appreciate that you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Now, how about the guests? I brought on quite a few different guests now. Not quite across the entire spectrum, but there's been a few of them on there. So far, you've been enjoying that part of the show?
I have. I've been learning so much. Like I said, I've never been political before. So I'm learning as I'm watching you, and you're doing all these interviews, which I absolutely love because, again, I'm getting so many different perspectives. And it's just like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. This is cool.
Yeah, I was kind of chatting behind the scenes on Twitter with a couple of people, trying to line up some more guests. And I was getting a lot of heat for the Rachel Gilmore one. And really, my approach on that one is I want to talk to every single type of person there is so that I can practice having a conversation with these people so that there's nothing that surprises me or gets me flustered when I'm dealing with real big situations.
I voted yes on that one, by the way, on that poll.
Did you? I think that's
just
the right
because
answer.
Just because I'm curious to one, how she'd handle the situation, because
Yeah,
she comes off as quite a lunatic at times.
at
Um,
times. Yeah.
and it's like, all right. So I'm curious how she would try to maneuver the conversation to where she's kind of in charge. That's
Hmm.
how I feel like she might go. And so I'm curious. I would be curious to see how the conversation would go for sure. So I voted yes.
Yeah, because my take on it is she just lost her job. She's overcompensating on Twitter. She's overcompensating on TikTok right now. She's trying to hook her mom up with somebody. I'm not joking. Like on her Twitter right now, she's like, "Here's my mom, single. Reach out." I'm not joking. She's got her mom on there. This to me are all signals of a family that doesn't have a full family. They're searching for that male energy, both of them. She's searching for a father with her mother, and her mother's looking like it's incredible how what's missing in their lives are good male energy, but what they scream on the public front is, well, those are the enemies and all that kind of stuff. So I think that she's being forced to go through a bit of a transition, odd word to have to use here, of her realizing that what's missing in her life is strong, loving males. And with her current vibe, she's not going to attract that. So she seems to me to be just lashing out and very angry and blaming anything and everything for her loneliness. And that's what I see. I see a human there that's really an evil path. She's on an evil path and she's hurting a lot of people. But I bet you she's super, super lonely. And that could be her problem. And I just want to talk to her. If she wants to
Yeah.
yell at me for, like, it could be she comes on, yells at me, "I can't believe you had me on here. This is stupid," and it hangs up. All right, that's fine too. If we talk for 2 hours and she ends up crying and confesses that the biggest problem was she can't find her main love, that's awesome too. And if she says, "Hey, look, here was a nice conversation. I still don't see your guys' point of view, but you guys aren't so bad," that's a win. That's a win.
Yeah, I agree.
And,
I agree.
yeah, yeah. And if we can show other people, look, a West guy from Alberta, white, male, married, hetero, all the things that they hate, and then the anti of that, and we're able to sit and talk. We don't have to solve issues. We don't have to even persuade each other and come to an agreement. But the simple fact that we can have dialogue, I think, would be a very good start. And that's what I'm
Absolutely.
going with that. Yeah, I don't think she's going to say yes. I don't even think we're getting to the point where she even responds. Like,
I
I
think she'd
think
be
it's,
too scared to. In all
yeah,
honesty, I think you would challenge her, and as a liberal, I kind of know what it is to be one. She'd end
yeah.
up baffling on like blah, 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 as she was trying to explain something to you, and then she'd try to remember the talking points, the words that she's supposed to use. But I think you'd kerfuffle her.
Well, that wouldn't be my goal. My goal wouldn't be to rattle her at all. My goal would be to make her feel very comfortable because I do want to talk to the person, not the public persona that she's created. There is still a person behind that. It may
Oh,
not be a very
absolutely.
good person. I don't know. It may be a very sad or lost person. I don't know. But I do believe, redemption's a thing, right? You can absolutely be atoned. That's a real thing. And people, maybe they have to be reminded that that is a path available to them. Because I do think she's going to be going through, and it would be sad if she's going through a depression that she's hiding with anger, because people do that. There's a type of depression that you hide behind anger. It would be really sad if something bad happened to her because she went down that road too far.
Mhm.
That's my empathy speaking, because I really believe everybody deserves, well, as many chances as they ask for, frankly, as many chances as they, look for redemption on. You can get it. But it also might be a big mistake. I might go on there and all the trolls might attack me, and for some reason it overwhelms everything, and that's a bad mistake. That'll be a very good lesson for me to learn at this
Yeah.
stage. I can pick myself up and start again. But I'm trying to prepare myself for the big fight because I think the Rachel Gilmers of the world are, you know, the D League. They're not the A League. The A League are the Trudeaus and the Freelands and those people.
Mm.
So, I was a fan of Nintendo and I played Punch Out. So, you have to take a few punches at the beginning to get all the way to Mike Tyson. And that's kind of what I see this as. I see an interview with like Rachel Gilmore. It would be a good way to try and connect to the human to see if I could. but it would also be a great way to practice dealing with somebody who absolutely, if they could have their way, I wouldn't exist. So that would be an interesting conversation to have.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, but I don't think it will happen. But what ended up coming out of it is it got a bunch of attention. like, like I wasn't trying to get all that attention. I really wanted to know if my listeners would have the tolerance to sit through an episode with her, and the answer is no. But what I got out of it was there's 150 people that said yes. So that would be my biggest audience if I actually did that. So what I got out of it is more people would show up to my show than any other show, and that includes Max. So it might be worth it if she reaches out. And I also
Yeah.
say to people, if she does reach out and she does admit or agree to be on the show, I think that's a big step on her part. She knows what she's doing and getting involved in. So if she did do that, I think that would be quite the signal. I think it would be
Yeah.
very interesting to see where that went.
Even if she was just willing to listen,
Mhm.
that says a lot. That says a lot about her character if she's just even willing to listen.
Yeah. But if she showed up for a debate, a fight, maybe she practiced, maybe she got a bunch of talking points, like you said, and she might just jump through them all and railroad me with them or steamroll me with them. Look, I'm a paralegal. I've been in court. I've been defendant, plaintiff. I talked to judges. She wouldn't scare me. She wouldn't scare me at all because there's no actual authority and there's no actual anything behind her bark. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. But hey, it would be good for ratings. Worst case
Yeah,
scenario. Yeah. It'd be like a Jerry
absolutely.
Springer episode. Okay. But enough about Rachel. I did want to get into okay, so I'm sorry to bring you back to this.
It's okay.
You lost your husband and you were going through some depression. You found Jordan Peterson. You're coming out. You're starting to find cool things. You're getting some more Canadian content. You find this show and others, and you're starting to feel uplifted a bit more that there's some good people out there. They think the way you do. Then all of this stuff really started happening with like gender really bad, like over the last year or so, gotten really, really bad. And now you want to stand up, you want to come out to your friends and family and you say, okay, what are you? Are you telling them you're a conservative? Are you telling them you're switching parties? What is it you want to tell your friends and family as you're coming out?
Wow.
You put the message out. Let's go ahead and talk to them.
I want to tell them that I'm not going to sit idly by and watch as women are erased, men are treated like crap. And if you keep going for the kids, I'm going to get real mad. Because as someone who has looked into the eyes of a groomer, I know exactly how they work. And I'm telling you, I'm seeing it right across the board. And I do not think, in my personal opinion, I do not think this is actual members of the LGB and the real T. I think that they've been hijacked. Like Justin Trudeau came out and he started passing law after law after law. It's like, what do you think a pedophile and a rapist and a groomer is going to do when, the Lord of the land says, here's the keys to the kingdom, have at it, you won't be punished at all. All you have to do is say you're trans. Of course they're going to invade our spaces. There's a case that just finished in Toronto. This guy who identified as a woman went into a woman's shelter. As someone who's been in a woman's shelter, I can tell you they're bulletproof. This is where women are supposed to be able to go to feel safe. And this man invaded this space and essayed 2 women. It's like, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. Keep your penis out of our sports. Keep your penis out of our bathrooms. You know what I mean? And it's nothing against people who genuinely suffer from gender dysphoria. But I don't think that's what these athletes are doing. They can't compete in men's sports because they suck. So they're coming over to women's sports so they can dominate. I think real predators are the ones that want, into women's spaces. It's real predators. I don't think a real trans person is like, oh no, I need to use your bathroom. For the most part, they don't want to make women uncomfortable. So they were like, I'll go somewhere else, but we're getting this new mass hysteria of people like women. Did you know that there's been like a 5,000% increase in female to male transitioning?
Female to male?
It's like 5,000. Yeah, female to male. This is unheard of. It's like we're just chopping up these girls, and I don't think they have gender dysphoria. I think they have body dysmorphia, which I suffer from. And
Okay.
there's such a self-loathing when you have body dysmorphia. And I think that these girls are being told, oh, you're just in the wrong body. Let's give you a double mastectomy, make you look like a guy, and you'll be great. You'll be one of the guys. And so these girls who hate themselves, they end up believing it, you know? And it's like, oh, what are you doing to these young girls? You know what I mean? It's just, it's so heartbreaking, all of it. It's like it's so overwhelming at times, because it
Right.
feels like you're being smacked in the face with something new every day. It's like when you think you haven't seen it all, or you've seen it all, excuse me, you've seen it all, boom, they do something and you're like, really? You
Right.
know, like, we're going here. Like, some of the books that were coming into classes, some of the things that were being said to girls to get them to be convinced. And then you've got, oh, I call them whack-a-moms, because I think they're whack-a-moles, and we
Right.
should be bopping them on the head as they keep popping up. It's single liberal mothers that are doing this, you know, and I guess you could say I'm one of them, but that's what I'm finding. It's not actual parents, it's not families that are doing this to kids. It's liberal moms, single moms who, for whatever reason, I have a theory as to the reason, but they can't get a date. So they're trying to manipulate a situation and guilt people into dating them, or,
Hmm.
you know, or say, look, my kid's trans, give me the likes and the clicks and the comments, stunning and brave, right? And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the attention. And I understand that. We've all wanted to be part of something. And as a former liberal, I'm definitely going to say former liberal, I know what that feels like, to want desperately to be a part of something. I grew up and I got fat. I have a lot of stuff to say about body positivity, but and people say you have no right to talk about that stuff. And I was like, no, I've got a leg. I got a leg to stand on in a lot of this, you know, as someone who is friends with the LGBT, and someone who has been fat, who is a woman, who has been an undesirable, who, you know, has been in bad relationships. I got a lot to bring to the table.
Well, I'm glad you
Sorry.
found your way here because we love you. We think you're great the way you are. We wouldn't want
Thank
you
you.
to change. We got no problems with who you are. We're getting comments like, Tammy has such a natural intelligence out of Ellen and a natural sense of humor
Oh,
too.
thank you
And
guys.
yeah, this I think there was something about you. It was more than just your name for me, because we'll get to that in a second for me. But there was something about you in the chat when you would come up in my screen here. I'm like, oh, there's Tammy again. Let's see what she's saying. Oh, cool. Well, there she is like that. Oh, that's cool. And I never would have thought that you had a liberal background based on the chats and stuff. It's not that it matters to me, and I'm just pleased that I have all types of people in my chat, but I never would have gotten that from your chat. But there was something about your energy and the way you would say it and show up and be there and participate that I was drawn to. I think it's also because of your name. Okay.
Yes.
So I had a sister.
That is kind of wild, man. Sorry, I'll sit back and let
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, I know I had a sister, and I got to use past tense because she did pass. She was my younger sister. Okay. She was born in 1981 and she passed in 2012. She had a very similar story to you. She was the caring one, the one that would care for everybody, be out there to help everybody, do what they can. But she had abuse. We all did, and our entire family did. But she got it the worst, a whole bunch of different ways. And she struggled with that. And we lost her. Okay. Um, she didn't do it to herself directly, but she did the long term one, which is the don't care for yourself way, and allowed her body to just fall apart. So when I saw your name, because it's spelled the same way, and it's a unique way to spell Tammy, it's not spelled with an I everywhere. I'm like, oh, that reminded me of my sister each time. But your energy reminded me about the positive sides of her, because she was such a giving person and a smart person, and it was such a tragedy for us because she was one of the smartest ones in our group. But this is where abuse can take people. Okay. Abuse is real. It's trauma. It could be lifelong. You mentioned you had a type of PTSD. This is something that's difficult for people to reach out for help with. This was a challenge with my sister. She stayed strong. Like, she put on this strong persona. Like, we didn't know. Like, it was a big surprise when all the information came out. But she put on such a strong persona and fought this image, or provided this image, but inside was a very different person. So, what do we say to people like my sister, and then the people that went through struggles like you, to let them know that no, there's people out there that do care about you, even if we haven't met, and there's definitely places for you to go ahead and start to connect again with people. Um, your story really inspired me because you came close a couple times at least, but you're never going back. So that fills me with a ton of hope. How can we help other people in this super dark time when women are being erased and relationships are being stretched and people are fighting within families and vaccine this and politics that? How do we remind them there is a path forward, and there's a good path forward? You
There
found one.
is.
You found a really good one. How to
Um,
remind them that that exists, and how do we help them get there?
oh, wow. Um, it took me so long. Oh, shit. Sorry.
No, please, it's okay.
It took me so long to get here. I don't really know how to say to someone else, just never give up. Don't ever give up. There is light at the end of the tunnel. It may seem like it's really, really far away, but it's achievable. Um, find your people. Find a group of people who will help bring out the best in you. And I had been surrounding myself with not so great people, so I had to kind
Mm.
of limit my circle. And then I found other Canadians, like-minded Canadians, and God, man, you guys really helped me out through a really difficult time. And I say that on Twitter all the time. Like, when my husband died, you guys were all there for me. On my anniversary, you guys were all there for me. On my birthday, you guys were all there for me. And it's just like, I would tell someone, never give up, because it's the hardest struggle that you will ever go through in your entire life. But there is hope. I swear it. As someone who's been there a lot, trust me, there's hope.
You
Sorry.
turn to Twitter. No, don't be. You turn to Twitter. You turn to YouTube. You started listening to new voices. You started to
Yep.
reach out to new people, and you were welcomed immediately, I would assume.
I
when you
was
started to reach
actually.
out.
I hid the fact that I was a liberal for, as you didn't know. I kind of didn't really touch on my liberal side because I was afraid. Here I was meeting like-minded individuals, but I slightly leaned more liberal than they did. And I thought, the minute I mention that I'm liberal, they're all going to disown me. They're not going to talk to me anymore, And I had to get over that too. And just being here and being welcomed into the chat, and then there was other chats. I even actually went to one of Jeremy Mackenzie's live streams as well, and his chat
Sure.
welcomed me with open arms too.
Yeah, that's a big family over there.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually friends with a few of the Diagolon members. I don't know what.
Yep.
Is that what we call them? Yeah.
Yeah.
And of
Canada's
course,
largest terrorist group.
yeah. And people are like, oh, you're friends with, and I'm like, so. So again,
no.
if you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you, and there's a few members who are absolutely hilarious, and I look forward to their posts every day.
Well, here's the thing about that entire group. They never once were violent, even though they were accused of it, even though their leader got arrested, even though they were under attack, even though they were infiltrated, even though they were name called, even though they had bank accounts froze. A whole bunch of things happened to these guys. No violence. No violence. Just the willpower to stand up and not to cave to them. And that was, I think, what upset them more. I think they would have actually preferred to have violence brought to them, but it was the non-violence and it was the standing up anyways, which I think sent one heck of a message. And it's why it didn't work. That's why Dagenham didn't turn out to be a terrorist group like they tried to say at the POEC, and that's why a lot of egg on the face for that one. So, I'm not part of their group. I kind of hang out went
Yeah.
through a couple of their things, and then I heard what they say about politicians, especially new politicians, trying to connect to them, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if he's talking to me, but he sure sounds like it. Um, so I give him some space. But I think over the last year, I've demonstrated to their group that
Sorry, I'm talking to my
we're,
dog.
yeah, no, we're atypical here. We're not what you would normally think as an independent journalist or even an independent politician, which is I'm happy about because that is who I am, and I don't want to change into something else just to pander and get attention from other people. So I'm glad it's working naturally. That's great.
Mhm.
Now I'm super happy that you are joining us for a couple other reasons. I wanted to speak to real Canadians, and they're not willing to come on. There's so many no's. I got more no's than yeses when it's coming onto the show, and you're one of the first. Yeah, I'm going through the list right now. You are the first, other than maybe Wayne, but Wayne's an activist as well. You're the first guest who isn't an activist, isn't a political leader. You don't have. You're not in the media. You're not a reporter. You are a Canadian. So I thank you for coming on because what I hope will happen from this is other Canadians will start saying yes now. They
I
will
hope so
not be
too.
afraid. Yeah, they won't be afraid to come on and tell their story. Good stories, bad stories, otherwise. And what I'm really, really excited about. So the first part was I think you're going to motivate some other Canadians to speak. What I'm really, really excited about is I think you're going to motivate the ones who are so scared right now to speak, to maybe speak. And these are going to be the women out there, the ones that are abused, the ones who went through some horrible things in their private life, but it's very similar to what's happening in their political life too, that they
Hmm.
fall into that abuse pattern and stay there. So maybe we can speak a little bit to the women who are going through abuse and are kind of stuck into the pattern of the abuser and being stuck there. Let's talk to those women for a little bit because I can't. I can offer a place to chat, but I can't speak to them directly. Could you maybe speak to them and remind them that your voice is a lot louder than you think, and as soon as you put your power behind it, and I believe Railroad have made a comment here. I don't see it, but there was something about having power. As soon as you add power to your voice, you will definitely be heard. So let's go ahead and remind women that are stuck in it could be a personal abusive situation or the one with their government to go ahead and try and break out of that.
Well, wow.
Sorry, yeah, no, this is what I think. This is one of the things I think we can help with. So showing
It's
that strength that you're showing today is what I'm talking about.
again, I think it's about surrounding yourself with people who give you the courage to break free, whether it be break free from your own mindset, from an abusive relationship, from a political party. It's surrounding yourself with the people who will continue to lift you up rather than not care about what your opinions are. Oh, well, suck it up, buttercup.
Right.
No, it's find those people who are willing to say, you're worth it. And you know what? And you're not alone. There are so many of us out there, more than we care to admit.
Hmm.
And the more women that can speak out, maybe we can change the minds of some of the ones that we don't think, okay, maybe not the far left, but like I said, I think there's a lot more people like me on the left who are just afraid to speak. And, whether you're being, I hate even just thinking about abuse on any level.
Hmm.
Because I've been in abusive relationships. I was
Right.
obviously abused as a child. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And that's what I'm seeing in front of me that's happening to these kids. And as a person who's been through it, and I would say this to you mothers, especially if you're a mother and you have been abused on any level, you have to look at these kids and say, I don't want this for these kids. I know what it did to me. I got the scars to prove it.
Hmm.
I'm lucky my scars have faded, but because I was a really bad self-harmer. And you're not alone. If you self-harm, you're not alone. There is, you can get through that too. I've not self-harmed in a long time either. I've been getting into a really good place. Find yourself a YouTuber that makes you laugh. Find yourself a friend on Twitter that you can just shoot the shit with, you know, just someone you can connect with outside of your own bubble. Because I find that when we're in that bubble, we get stuck there. And it's like a hamster running in a hamster wheel, you know? So you try to be a little bit more open and go outside the bubble. And I think that people get scared. They're like, oh, I don't know how to meet new people. I don't know what to say, you know? And I'm like, just throw yourself into the ring, man. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you just do it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I just dove in head first. And I was, be eager to learn, be willing to listen, and be eager to learn. And man, the whole world seems so different once you do. It's a really amazing feeling.
I agree with that. And here's a weird question for you. The first time you heard something on this show that you didn't like, because I'm sure I'm not 100% your type, your cup of tea, but it's something that you didn't like. What kept you here? Why didn't you just say, oh, he has that opinion, I'm out of here? What kept you here?
Well, one, I love differences of opinions. I don't have to agree with everything everybody says. I don't agree with everything Jordan Peterson says. I don't agree with everything Matt Walsh says, but I respect them enough to hear them out. And you and I have differences of opinions in regards to certain subjects. And I'm okay with that because I feel you have the right to have your opinion. And I just view things differently. And it doesn't mean I'm wrong. Depends on who you ask. Like today, was it today? Yes, it was today. You guys were talking, man, I'm really freaked out about going to this place. You guys were talking about abortion.
Right.
And it was supposed to be safe, legal, rare.
Right.
That's always been my stance, right? It was supposed to only be if the baby was not going to be viable outside the womb, the mother's life was at risk, the baby or the mother or both were at risk. And I also believed that in the case of SA or, you know, family member doing it to you, it should not be your go-to, but it should be allowed to be an option. That's how I felt about it. But nowadays we're seeing women use it for birth control, which is absolutely disgusting. And I did not know the Canadian laws. And you were talking about that this morning, how many Canadians didn't know the abortion laws in Canada.
Right. It's
and
so true.
When I found out, I was like, no. Because I, like most probably other people in Canada, thought we were like the States, you know, where you had a cutoff time, right? Where, you know, but gender, like sex-based abortion, like what is wrong with you, Justin Trudeau? You know, like, ugh, it's so gross. It's just so gross. Sorry. But that's something that we agree, but kind of disagree on. I lean a little bit more liberal. And I was like, oh, do we talk about that? I was like, I don't want his chat to hate me, because I think it was Ellen who said in the chat this morning that it's a slippery slope. And it was the same thing with the LGBT. We just want to get married. You know, and it wasn't the only thing that they wanted back then, you know, but again, we were warned even back in the 90s, this is going to become a slippery slope. And here we are. You know?
100%. The conversations back then was early term only. It was, we're not doing it for gender, that's for sure. Sex, that's for sure. We're not doing vanity babies. In other words, getting rid of them because they're not perfect. Back then, we were like, absolutely, we're not doing any of that. It was only for emergencies, mother's life, baby is causing a medical problem or something along those lines, which would be incredibly rare.
Yes, even Matt Walsh says it's like this percent of the population.
Yeah, and even then, there's still a lot of arguments against even that, because you can do some other stuff. But when it came to the fact that TikTok, and they're like bragging about it, and how many for you and how many for you, and they got to think of body count now, and my goodness.
I seen this one video on TikTok, and she's like, happy aboversary. It's been 1 year since I've had my abortion. And I'm like, you're a sick pig. I can't say what I really wanted to say about her.
Yeah. And I think that culture thing was very recent. And that was when you had actresses stand up and say, because I did, I'm a success. I am proud that I did it because I am who I am today. And you even had other ones like Leah something, that girl from Girls, that when I did Girls. She actually came out and said she wished she had one so that she can, contribute to that conversation more. It's like, wow, like it's no longer safe, legal,
I
rare,
was
is it?
off. I was offered an abortion when I was pregnant with Nicholas, and I looked at her and I said, "Don't you even? Don't you even? You can, you know." So when you were talking about your story about how when
So
you
it's
were in
a prenatal
Ontario,
test. So you had prenatal tests and they found something?
yeah, there was a
Right.
precursor for Down syndrome.
Okay.
And I said, first and foremost, Down syndrome is not a disability to me, so you can just shut your mouth. It's not happening.
Yep.
It never has been. So when you were saying that, Down syndrome is beautiful, I was like, it is. We
It is.
actually, we have a young boy here. He's in high school. He's so excited now. Most competitive, loving, witty, just the sweetest soul. His name is Sammy, and he would wait outside because my son and him no longer go to school together. But he would wait in his van that would be taking him home, and he'd be like, "Bye, Nicholas. Bye, Nicholas's mom," because he never knew
Mhm.
my name, so it was just
Yeah.
Nicholas's mom. And I just love that kid. I really, really did.
No, they're
Well, do.
incredibly giving and loving. Yeah, yeah, he's still around. Good. Incredibly loving and giving for sure. See, here's the thing about them. They have an extra chromosome.
Mhm.
Right? So that's the issue. They have an extra chromosome. Why and who got to decide that that was not a good thing? Because they're the best people I know. If
Mhm.
we could have all people that had the same behavior and attitude,
Absolutely.
sure, your speech might be a little bit different and stuff, but if we could have everybody with that attitude, I guarantee you this would be a nicer world. So I'm not even convinced it's an abnormality. It might be a evolution. It might be a step in the right direction. So I'm not on the board that it's a mutation. I'm on the side that I don't think we know what it is yet, but it's beautiful. It's a
I
very,
agree.
very lovely thing.
Speaking of kids with Down syndrome, have you seen the drag queens that have Down syndrome?
No,
Oh, thank God.
no, and that would break my heart because I
Yeah.
know that they don't believe that. They totally bought it. That's not something they believe.
It's a group of them in Britain that I truly believe are being exploited.
For sure.
One of them poses for the camera and says, "Where's my martini, baby?"
Hmm.
They're putting them in tights and getting them to twerk in front of people, and I'm going, "What are you doing?" Like, these are the most beautiful human beings, the
Yep.
most naive and innocent and pure. They're just light.
They love
How
to
could
please.
you do this? You
Hmm.
know? And then you ask yourself, where are their parents? Why are their parents letting them? And they're like, "Oh no, people with Down syndrome should be allowed to be drag queens too." I said, they don't even care what a drag queen is. You know? I mean, they'd be friendly to a drag queen, because they're
Hmm.
friendly to everybody, right? That's
Oh,
just who they are as people.
sure, and when they're doing it, they're not doing it for the reasons that the okay, I'm just gonna be careful. So there's a group of drag queens which would be performers. I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of people had problems with those guys. So you had like this lady on the Britain TV. She passed away recently, but Dame something. Um,
Edna.
yeah, there you go. So when it was an entertainment thing, it wasn't really a sexual thing. It was just a dress up thing. That was original drag. And a lot of people had problems with that because that's a slippery slope. But other people said, well, they're just doing it for entertainment's sake. But now it's turned into a lifestyle, a way of being, and an identity. And
Hmm.
I have spoken to people who do the drag, and they're like, that's not drag. What they're doing is something different. That is completely different." And we used to have a term for transvestite, I think it was a term.
Hmm.
And I think that was the term that that group was being identified as. Now that label's gone, and now it's drag in general,
Hmm.
storytime hour. But even the drag community is saying no. And you got gays against groomers saying
Love
no.
them.
Yeah, it's incredible.
They should
And they,
they should never have had to be formed though. But we've let it get so far that they finally said enough is enough. No, no,
mhm.
no. But I'm
So
glad they are here.
Yeah, so we have that push, which we would say is inside of that community. And now what we're seeing today in Ottawa, this is good news, is we're seeing a
Hmm.
whole bunch of parents getting up and saying enough. Yes, there's a bit of a Muslim connection where they're very firm, and they're even people are using the term intolerant. That's the wrong term. That's not the right term. They have their beliefs. Okay, look, it's intolerant to force onto them any new beliefs.
Absolutely.
That's where the intolerance is. But I don't see Muslims there. What I see are parents. I see parents there. And the one thing about the Muslim community is they absolutely take the parenthood very, very seriously from very, very early because they understand that parenthood creates the next generation. So they get it. I am really impressed to see a bunch of other Canadians, parents, standing up as well. And I called this one a while ago because I'm a parent, and this is why I left Ontario, and this is why I'm running for office, is because of the threat to my children from the government. So I was seeing that this could be the line in the sand. You go after too many parents and you go after them harshly, you're gonna have a problem. So
Yep.
I'm actually thankful that in the United States they started to investigate and go after parents when they were being riley up, and you had the Daily Wire talking about this and exposing this, and a bunch of people were starting to understand that the FBI were now classifying parents as domestic terrorists. Those were the lines in the sand. Those were being developed right there. That's exactly what I was hoping to see because you're criminalizing parents now, and that's when ideology and politics can come out of the picture. Because the only thing else that can stay in that room is parenthood. There really isn't any room for even religion in that conversation. It's just straight up parenthood.
Yeah.
So, do you think we might be seeing it with this push in Ottawa with Josh and Billboard Chris and the rest of the group? Do you think the cracks have happened? Like we actually have cracks now, and are we
They're
starting to
starting
put a
for
wedge?
sure.
Yeah, and are we starting to put a wedge in there and really starting to make some movement on this? What do you think? Do you seen that?
I think it's starting. Like I said to my mom, I said, this isn't going to end how they want it to.
No.
Unfortunately, I'm worried that people are going to get hurt before it actually comes to a halt. That's
Yes.
my biggest fear. Because as
Yes.
we know, the loving, intolerant left just love to be violent with everybody. And it's like, I just feel like someone is going to get hurt. And I, and I just want to see if there's a way that we can figure out how to avoid something like that. But I think whether it be here in Canada or whether it be in the United States or it be over in Europe, I think someone is going to get hurt. And that's what's going to make everybody go, oh, oh, because it's starting to form now. So more and more people are going, maybe these parents are right. Maybe they're, maybe we should look a little bit more because I guarantee you a lot of parents have no idea what is going on in their kids' schools. I didn't know
No.
for almost a year. No one told me. I was not given the option to opt out. I was not told what the curriculum was going to be. I was like, and then when I found out, it was like by chance, my son going, "Hey, I can be a drag queen." I was like, "What?" So, and I guarantee most of these parents have no idea, and they're not. A lot of parents don't go online or don't do the political stuff. I have friends on Facebook who are very LGBT friendly. And I've had
Hmm.
friends go, "Oh, I'll take my kid to see a drag show." And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
We all know I used to work drag shows. I used to help the drag queens get ready. I know exactly what is entailed. And even if it's just a musical number, because we got our Chers and our Madonnas and our Tina Turner drag queens. But even if it's just a musical performance, even with it just being musical, there's still a sexual vibe to it. They're going around and collecting money
Hmm.
and like, ooh, 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 oh, pay the queen, right? So there's a sexual element to it. And it's like, why would you want to take your kid to that? Why would you want a grown man reading a story to your kid? It's there. I've always felt there's a right way to go about things and a wrong way to go about things. And just shoving drag queens in little children's faces is not the right way to go about things. I don't think kids should be around drag. But if you happen to know a gay person, just casually introduce your kid to a gay person. You don't have to tell your kid. It's like we right now in, you know, current times, we actually have to tell people, if you need to tell your children, this is a homosexual, this is a lesbian, this is a trans person. You have to go into all these gory details rather than just saying, this is our dog trainer who's a trans. I mean, I'm telling you, I never said to my son, this is a trans man. This is our dog trainer. That's it. This is your Uncle Ron. You know, this is your Uncle Bill. This is your Uncle Rob. I didn't need to go into any details. And that's the way it should be. You don't, it age appropriate for sure. And these kids, some data was just released in the States. Each young adult that they trans in the United States is worth $1.3 million per year. And I feel that's what the push is, to get them younger and younger and younger, to get more money, more money, more money. Because if you can get them on hormones at a younger age, that's 5 more years than you had prior. So that's 5 more years of money. You can get surgery at 17 now, or whatever it might be. Oh, you know, I mean, they've done double mastectomies on 12-year-olds. So it's like, whoa. So you get a 12-year-old to go chop off her chest, and you've got 10 more years than you would have had before. It's all about money. We need to like figure out how we can cut them off at the knees. Because if they don't get their money, they will bugger off. You know what I mean? Hopefully.
Yeah. So Thursday we have Donald Best on, and he's going to be talking about the industrial complex. So it's an entire machine. It's worth like $10 billion now, and it's growing. It's one of the biggest industries that are growing right now, is the trans industry. And that includes mostly surgeries and pharmaceuticals, and then therapies. There's a lot of money being spent on it. Now, I want to kind of trying to see where I can go with this one now. I want to talk a bit about the search for normalcy. So after you had this stuff happen, you found this stream, you found other stuff, you're starting to connect with people now. Now your life is starting to feel a little bit more normal to you. You kind of feel like you're where you need to be, because it doesn't feel weird or odd to you or foreign to you. Great. So now how do we keep that moving for you? And how do we make sure that you keep your growth going and keep feeling like you've got a family now, at least with this community? Because what I want to get to the point is, what is your new normal going to be? What do you want your new normal to be? And are we going to be part of that? and
sorry,
maybe
my son just popped in.
Yeah. And maybe you'll continue with the camera, because I watched some of your videos.
I want to, yes.
Yeah, the intention was to start doing more talking, more coming out.
Yes.
And I liked that one video that you had where you were testing it out. And
what happened? Oh no.
Still hear you. Can you still hear me?
Yep, here we go. Yeah. You're back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's my end, because I can see my internet isn't great right now. So if I drop, you can keep talking, because people can still hear you.
Oh, okay.
And see you, but it will be me that's. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what does your new normal look like, and what are you going to do with the camera? Because when I watched your video, you were super excited about getting it, setting it up, and then my favorite part was you kind of forgot you were on camera for a second, and you just started talking about your life, and that was the part that I think was the better part, because you weren't trying to do anything. You just all of a sudden kind of switched into coffee with Tami mode, because it was as if we were having coffee with you. So I'm curious, are you going to continue to do that? Maybe a half-an-hour show and start there or something?
I would love to, actually. I'd love to do what you kind of do, and have people on and get differences of opinions, and see where other people are coming from. See if maybe I might be able to change a mind or two. And so I would love to. I'd also love to do reaction videos, because some of the stuff out there is just so ridiculously funny or stupid or bizarre. You just like, really, So just one second. Nicholas. Oh, he's not here.
Can we say hi to him?
I told him.
Okay.
Nicholas. Sorry if that was too loud. Oh,
no problem.
He
He's
keeps
good.
popping in. He keeps popping in, but he's not here right at the moment. I don't know where he went. I think he went back upstairs, but he keeps going like this, popping around the door. It's like,
Well,
hi.
that would be cool if he can show up. So yeah, I think you're onto something because we need more culture on our side. We need to have a lot more voices out there and do something with it. Like a Canadian version of Lived Up TikTok. You know, somebody out there who's finding the stuff and bringing it forward in a Canadian way because it's for Canadians by Canadians.
Mhm.
I would watch that. Maybe you could put together a clip show of funny things you find, and maybe
Yeah.
it's recorded and then you put it up and not necessarily live. But let's do something. Let's try and figure out a way to do something.
Okay, sounds like a plan. I'm down for that because it's definitely something. My mom's like, you're natural when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'm a
Mhm.
Pisces. So I like to be creative and funny, and I'm outgoing. I can be quite crazy. I'm actually quite tame today. I'm a mouthy liberal. Sorry, I got the foul mouth like one. I just try not to use it inappropriately. So I've been minding my P's and Q's here. And on my channel, I might be a little bit more freer with F-bombs.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. On a tech side, I can help guide you in the right direction on that. It's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. You joined here and you were able to do the camera and the audio. It's not much more than that. Okay, that's like the harder part. You can get started. You can do something.
Okay, I would love that. I mean, hang on just a second.
Mm.
Nicholas! Okay. I keep hearing him. I don't know what he's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
He wasn't
And you got,
feeling too well today, so
oh, has he got something or is he just a little bit down today?
it's I think he's getting a cold again. He gets sick like every other week. It's like weird. But it's just like a couple days, cough, 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 then he's better. And I'm like, maybe
Mhm.
it's his allergies or something. Come here. Here he comes.
Oh, right on.
Come around this way.
I gotta make sure I'm all ready. I'm a little nervous to meet Nicholas now.
Or yeah, come
Straighten
this way, bud.
straighten the hat out. There we go. Everything's good.
You can't see. The camera's up here. He's worried because he's in his undies.
That's okay. Well, let's keep it below the waist, the camera.
Yeah, I
Above
told
the
him,
waist.
I
Yeah.
said, come down, sneak around. He's shy. He's playing so shy.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, you can tell him that we're really glad that he's a happy young man. And if he can poke his head around, that'd be kind of cool.
He goes, I don't know if I can do it.
Oh, you can do it. You can do it. How about he come and tell us he can't do it?
Oh, he's on his phone now. Come say hi, will you? Hi. Oh, he said.
Hey, we heard him. Very cool.
Oh, he's smiling.
Well, let me
because he
ask
can't hear you.
Right.
Here,
Yeah, let me ask
here,
you.
hang on, Nicholas. Here, grab this one and say, hey, Jason. Oh, no. Okay, now he's not. Now he's dropping my. It's okay.
Hello, Nicholas. Can you hear me?
Yes. He's got a little bit of cold there.
Do you like to play video games?
Yeah.
Do you do Minecraft?
Yeah.
Roblox?
No.
Not that one yet? Do you have a Nintendo Switch? What do you play on?
I play on computer, phone, and other consoles. The computer, the phone. He has an Xbox and an Xbox One.
Wonderful. So he's on the computer playing games. So what else did he do on the computer? Any programming? Does he homework on the computer as well?
He likes doing what is that? You like your Forza on there, right? Forza on my Xbox. Oh, Forza's on the Xbox. Transport Fever, is that the one on there? Yeah. He plays Minecraft on the computer. I'm trying to get him into some coding because I think that this one is going to be a very technical kind of kid. When he gets
awesome.
When he gets it in his head, he knows everything about the subject. If he likes it, he goes full on. Do you want to pop around and say hi?
We're friends now. I know about your Xbox. I know about your computer games.
Whole chat? Yeah, the whole chat will see you, yes.
Yeah.
Well, then get up on the chair and just poke your head around.
Yeah, we'd like to meet you, Nicholas. You sound like a nice young man. Oh, I have hair. We have hair. This is like a birth. There we go. Hello.
Just tuck down.
Yeah, it's a boy. Here we go. Hey, Nicholas. Nice to see you. Very cool.
Don't forget your phone, sweetheart.
All right, so it's gonna be called Tami and Nicholas in the morning, right? That's will be the show.
He would probably be totally down for that. He really would.
Well,
I have a streamer friend who she's just a small time streamer, but she's from London, Ontario, and she says hi to him all the time, and he just thinks she's the bee's knees.
Well, it would be neat to listen to a show of you and him talking about just general things that are important to him. That would be kind of neat. I would watch some of that. Now, let me ask the chat. Do you guys think Tami should be making her own show? Do you think she's got what it takes? Do you think she's got the talent? I think so. She's got the camera. We know that. But what do you think? I think Tami would connect with many people, Ellen says. I agree. I agree with that completely. Because there's a lot of people that are left. They're quiet. They've been abused. They don't know how to break out. They're thinking of self-delete. All of that is very, very true. And I do believe you would connect with a lot of people in that as well. I think you're very brave and strong. So that's impressive. Even showing up here, you've already done 143 minutes, or an hour and 43 minutes. So no problem for you. Very brave. But I want to kind of close up here and talk about maybe your final thoughts and reflections on how you want the rest of 2023 to go. Are you getting filled with optimism because you've seen some cracks happen? More voices are coming out. Your voice is coming out. Are you being filled with a little bit more optimism for 2023 than you were maybe at the beginning of 2023?
Yes, absolutely. I've been embraced by a number of different communities. I've made some of the most wonderful Canadian friends on Twitter who give me a laugh a minute. I want to continue going forward, continue to use my voice, let people know that they too can have a voice and you're not alone. I'd love to continue making content. I want to start, I'm waiting for my sister to build my desks that I can do my DIY stuff as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. And today was a good day, like we were talking about earlier, you know, with the protests again in Ottawa, with Starbucks, you know, taking out the Pride stuff, taking the Pride merch out.
Right, let's talk about that. I didn't actually know about that until you mentioned that at the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Starbucks has pulled the Pride for the year?
In the United States, yeah. I don't know. They apparently they got worried. The whole Target and Bud Light stuff kind of made them a little bit worried. And there's some Twitter group. It's workers for Starbucks, and they're all mad about it. And it's just like, you don't need it everywhere. If you'd had one rainbow tumbler, no one would have cared. But you decided to do an entire freaking room full of stuff and inappropriate stuff that half of these places are selling. And it's like, I think more companies need to understand, go woke, go broke, right? And we need to let these companies know, if you're going to go woke and you're going to shove this in our faces, we're just not going to come to you. We're going to go elsewhere. You know, that's what we can do as people, is just stop going to someplace. I understand for some things, like I live by a Walmart and they have the progressive flag in their window. I have to shop at Walmart sometimes, unfortunately, but I love people who can choose where, you know, like I don't have to go there. You know, if you have to, you have to, but it's nice to see that slowly but surely. Oh yes. And the trans people that flashed themselves at the White House, they've also been banned from ever attending any event for the White House ever again. So that's good that, you know, the White House stood up and said, this is going too far. It's sad that it took that, like, really, that's when you said it went too far, not when it's regarding children. Okay. But I'll take the semi-win. You know what I mean? Because it's the White House. It's the White House becoming bigots.
Right. And I think you were onto something when you said, and this is a sad part, that somebody might get hurt, or at some point somebody might get hurt before we have our moment. And that's a martyr. That would be a martyr. Somebody would be martyred. And I actually have the same fear as you. And in my mind, it's this little innocent girl. Something bad happens to her, and it's caught. It's undeniable. It's horrible, and I think that would change a heck of a lot of minds. But maybe we don't need that big moment on our side. Maybe 1,000 little cuts on this one, like paper cuts. 1,000 little paper cuts will end it for that. So this White House thing might be one. Target
Hmm.
getting into trouble. Bud Light learning a lesson. Now I quickly looked into.
Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah, now I looked into the Starbucks one. The company's denying it. It's the union who came out and made that comment.
Oh,
So the Starbucks,
really?
yeah, the Starbucks union came out and said that the employees were ordered to remove the Pride stuff. The company is denying it.
Ah,
So I was a little surprised to hear Starbucks. Like that is
I know.
the
Because,
first one
yeah,
to do it. Yeah, yeah.
they're
But
pretty progressive. So,
now what might have happened is maybe they did, and then it got leaked, and then they saw the backlash so quick, and now they're even denying because that is also something that could have happened here.
yeah.
They are putting the union under the bus. And I'm just going to throw it out there as a conspiracy guy. No tinfoil here at all. But conspiracy guy, Starbucks hates unions. So Starbucks could have told the union that. Union says that. Starbucks says union lied, gets rid of union. Um, that could have been a strategy here. If
Oh,
you're in the upper executive, you think that way. Um, let the union get out there with some false information, get a bunch of egg on their face, and make them look like bigots, and then maybe the union could be gone. I know Starbucks doesn't want that union.
oh, that's a good one. I like that. That's
Well,
definitely a possibility.
yeah, well, it's something that they would do. It's absolutely something they would do. Throw the union under the bus like that, for sure,
Hmm.
in a heartbeat. It's two birds, one stone. You get to look like the one that saved all your employees with his pride stuff, and you got rid of the union.
Yeah,
So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. But
yeah.
I just wanted to correct that because I'm an accredited media, right? I have to at least take a look and look into it. And it looks like the company's denying it, but the union came out with that comment. So you're
Hmm.
right. The Starbucks union said that the pride had to be removed, but the company is now disputing that.
Hmm. So
But
now it's a
but I,
wait and see.
but even the fact that that itself became such huge news and there was a lot of excitement and anger all at the same time, those are the cracks. Those are the
Hmm.
cracks.
I agree.
Um, and yeah, I like to see that, and I don't want to
We
see
just got to
one thing.
keep the momentum going, right? If
A
we can
thousand
keep
paper
with,
cuts,
exactly, if we can keep this momentum going forward and just take them down piece by piece by piece by piece, eventually they'll just be like, it's not worth it.
right? So people like you keep going to the school board meetings, keep challenging the school. If your son comes home like he did and said, "Hey, this is going on," go and find out what's going on and talk to them like you did. I think that's another thing that people can take out of this interview is the courage to even speak to your school. Like you said, a lot of people don't even know what's going on in their school. Make the
Hmm.
first step to go find out. Do find out.
Yeah.
A lot like I know that I've spoken to some people before and they have this attitude that, well, that's in California. They do that down in the States. That ain't here. Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it is.
is. And
Yeah,
believe it, I was one of those parents that's like, yeah, right. That's not happening here in Canada. What?
sorry,
You
what?
know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh. So even here's my advice to parents, even if you got to do it sneaky, just kind of be like, oh, I'd love to come in and see my kid's classroom sometime if that's okay. Get your kid to take you down to the library and just start checking things out. That's what I
Mhm.
did. I did it all on the down low. I was just making sure because I knew if I find anything, y'all going to be paying a price, because I've seen some of the books that are out there. And if any one of those, is in this school, I will be, coming at you come heck or high water.
Or take a page out of Starbucks book and go in there with pride earrings on and watch them open up to you and tell you everything.
Ooh.
Yeah, when you do
See,
that, the door opens up and then all of a sudden they're not keeping you away from certain areas. And yeah, you'll see everything.
but here's the thing. I kind of did that already. And that's, the teacher, when I asked his EA,
Mhm.
about how long they'd been teaching LGB, she was like, oh, we've been doing it since like last year. And I was like, what, and then she went in and told Nicholas's teacher, the woke one, oh my God, Tammy, Nicholas's mom, Tammy, just confronted me. She wants to know about the LGBT. Blah, blah, blah. So right away, his teacher calls me. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, I've been doing this longer than you've even been alive, lady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have friends in the community. They are my friends. I am not an ally. I am a friend. I treat them the exact same way I treat all my friends, right?
Right.
And so she ends up going back to the EA and goes, oh my God, Tammy is the coolest mother ever. So I thought, all right. So now, but nothing. And so I thought, okay, we're cool. Like I'm not hearing anything. Nicholas wasn't coming home and telling me anything. But then at the end of the year, a former EA, she came and told me every day, LGBT. But like I said, my son was tuned out.
Right.
He's like, I'm not interested in this crap. You bite it, Thank gosh.
And now it's out of the school, as far as you know.
Yeah. And she's gone now, man. Like, so I'm glad that she has been let go. They do have the rainbow flag flown at his school, which I'm not opposed to. Mind you, nowadays the flag doesn't mean as much as it used to, but I still understand that men and women actually fought for their own sexuality. And I understand that that's what the rainbow means for them. It's about their sexuality. They know that, and they don't want it really promoted either. And there's one lady in our town who has a gigantic progress flag. I hate that flag, just so that we're, I hate it. It's like every time they add another chevron, they're taking more of what that flag means away. And it's just like, I hate it. It's propaganda. Propaganda. That's all this is. It's to divide and make people hate each other. And I can't stand it.
It sounds like it's working, though, because your response to it is exactly what they're trying to do. So it worked because you are angry.
Well, no, I'm angry, but I wasn't angry enough to go rip it off her freaking house.
No. Yeah, sure. That's where they want the next stage. They actually do want us to do stuff like that so that they can say, look how intolerant and violent they are. Therefore, we need more protections, yada, yada, yada. Get the guys with the guns.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, and that's why I love Diagolon, because they could have, with just one fight or one retaliation or one little statement, they could have made us all look really bad, but they didn't. And that actually made us look all so good. And when I say us all, I don't mean Diagolon. I just mean anybody who's counter to the narrative that's going on. We're all on that side. And it could have made us all look bad if they were violent or they were going out there. And we did have video of people that are in drag being pulled out and violated and assaulted. Like, that would be horrible. Like what happened in Boogie Nights. Remember that movie, Boogie Nights?
No, I don't.
You haven't seen that movie, Boogie Nights?
Oh, Boogie Nights. Oh my.
Yeah.
Maybe when it first came out, but I don't remember it. Oh my heavens.
Right. Well, there was one scene in there where there was a gay gentleman that got tricked into a vehicle and then they like beat him, like they beat him bad. That can't happen, right? This is something we got rid of in our society a long time ago. We don't do that anymore. So if that kind of stuff still happened, that would be horrible for that person, but it would also be horrible for the counter narrative fight. So I'm glad that that's not happening. They're going to accuse us of doing stuff like that, but we just won't do it. So I'm glad that you go into the school and you talk to them. And I'm even glad that you even buddied up with them. So they got opened up a bit and they talked a bit more.
They did.
That's a tactic we're taught in law school. One of the first things you can do is you either make them scared and then they will confess, or you make them comfortable and they'll confess.
I started law when I was in high school, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
it was too much.
Yeah. I went to law school late in life, though. So I was in my late 30s when I did it. And I was in a class where I was the only person of my race and culture there. And sex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was in Brampton. So it was a very culturally diverse place. And a lot of females in that class. And you can see my wind is blowing Sorry, I got to close the window because things are blowing around behind me here. And they were incredibly discriminatory against me, and they tried to get me kicked out of the class because I performed too high. that's another story for one day. But it definitely showed me how we were changing, even in the classrooms at the level of law school, that people were labeling people and trying to get people away for their own personal reasons and nothing that that person did. So because I was white and I was a male and I was very active, and as you can tell, I was probably very talkative. So that happened. They wanted me out. Half of them wrote a letter. Didn't
Oh
work.
my.
Yeah.
Wow. That.
Yeah.
You
That's
see,
law
and that's
school.
what I stood against. It's like, the one girl that I was telling you about that I lost as a friend, she actually blamed Johnny Depp. And I went, what?
Blame Johnny
Because
Depp in what way?
she said all because I was a Johnny Depp fan, I got red pilled because I
Oh.
supported him during the trial because it was very clear that she had been abusive to him. And I was like, why don't we talk about this? We don't talk about men's mental health. We don't talk about violence against men. We act like it doesn't happen. Instead, we just want to throw all this hate towards men and say, we're the perfect ones. Well, no, if it happens to us, guess what? It does happen. So what if it's more rare? It still happens and it needs to be talked about. Most people don't know that 80% of the suicides that are committed in this country are men. You know, it's like, why aren't we talking about this? You know, I have a son. I want to be able to talk about this so that he's never feeling like he has to go that route. You know,
Yep.
I'm a big supporter of men and women. I'm a
Me
people.
too. Me too. I'm a supporter of men and women. I think we're both important and we're both necessary. If I had to pick one, it would be women. But I'm glad that we can get along and do this journey of life together. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
But on that note, sorry, it came to an end. I told you the 2 hours will go by quickly.
It did.
We are at the end, and you were worried about doing an hour. And look at this. I think you're good to go. And we still had more we could have talked about. This would have been
Definitely,
3 or 4 hours easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like ask Chris if sometime when he's free, if maybe me and Chris can come on together and the three of us do something together. That'd be awesome. I love Chris. I love his opinion, and he's always very positive towards me. He was the first one to reach out to me about homeschooling. He sent me all this information and everything. So I would definitely love to do something with him as well.
Well, it's funny you say that. He's got a show he's starting up on Thursdays now. He's going to be announcing it soon. So maybe I kind of blew that surprise. But he's working on a show right now. It's great. He's going to be doing
For
a lot
YouTube?
more stuff like this. Yeah. I believe he's doing the Twitter Spaces.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's doing
I
Twitter
haven't
Spaces.
figured those out yet. Can you even chat in those Twitter Spaces, or do you just listen?
Yeah, you can chat. Get a microphone on your... Well, you have one on your phone already. So it's kind of like a phone call. There's no video.
Okay.
Yeah, so get your Twitter app on your phone, and you can make it work really easy there.
Okay. That's good
But
to
he's
know.
on... Yeah, I think his first one is this Thursday. So check his Twitter. I checked my Twitter. I tweeted it as well. But yeah, Chris has got a show coming out. So it'd be a lot of
That's
fun.
awesome to hear.
Yeah, and then the following Wednesday, so not the Wednesday we're about to have tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, he'll be on this show. He'll be part of the Cross Canada show. And then in July sometime, he'll be on for a full episode.
Nice.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy, really good guy.
He
went to
is.
BC. Yeah, I actually went to BC to go see him. He's a really good guy. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's a really nice guy. Like I went and hang out with him in the park. We just shoot the entire afternoon away.
He seems like he'd be a cool, chill guy to be around.
Yeah, and the thing I got out of that meeting with him was to do this show. It wasn't his idea to do a show. It was his idea to help reach people because mental illness is an issue that him and I share that's very deep to us, is to help people with mental illness. It's one of the addressed issues in Canada, and it's hurting a lot of people. So that was really important to us, and we connected on that. And we were trying to come up with ways to reach people, and look what we're doing today. So Chris was the reason why I went on the path to do this. I wasn't planning to do a show, but talking to him about the mental illness issues, because I've my mother and some other issues, we connected on that. So I'm very pleased that after a year of working on it, he's coming out with his own show, and he'll be on the show again too.
Awesome. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. No problem. But I got to let you go because
Okay.
when you have a show, you'll know that you got to try and stay within your times because for a whole bunch of reasons. But thank you, Tami, and you guys let me know if you like that. Let me check the comments before I let you go though. First, oh, I got some questions here for you. So my chat lady, I'm going to
Oh,
do some.
thank Padge.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm gonna do some Q&A here, Padge. So I'll take the next 3 here. What do you think about Trudeau's commenting far right on stuff in New Brunswick about schools being required to tell parents stuff? So there's an issue where they don't tell parents stuff, right? They're hiding things from parents. And then comments from Trudeau or anybody who's pushing them to talk are far right. What's your comment about that?
I think Justin Trudeau should just shut his mouth. Stop trying to tell. We don't tell him how to parent his children. Don't tell us how to parent ours. Each individual, each set of parents, whether you be a single parent or, parents like gay, straight, whatever, we have our own way of parenting. And he shouldn't be worried about introducing stuff that really has nothing to do with life. Like, I get it. If your kid is gay, giving them an outlet, that's one thing. But we're not allowing kids to just come out, so to speak. We're like telling them, you're trans, right? And it's like we're forcing it upon these kids and it's confusing them. So I really just wish he would shut his mouth and let us do our jobs. Because I think we, for the most part, are doing a pretty dang good job ourselves.
Yeah, I have a little bit of empathy for him because it would be tough to find out that the man you grew up with wasn't your father. That'd be tough to find out later in life. So we'll give him a little bit of kudos and credits for that.
Is there any confirmation to that he's a Castro?
It's identical. Come on, he's got.
I know, right?
I'm like in common.
It's wild, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like the what's one of the Kardashians. Which one is it? Not Khloe. It might be Khloe.
Courtney.
OJ.
No, it's not Courtney.
No, it's
Courtney.
I think Khloe.
Khloe, yes, it's Khloe.
Yeah,
Isn't she like OJ Simpson's kid or something like that?
That's right. Do that test. Make us all be quiet. But she's a big, strong lady. Sure.
I think when it comes to Trudeau, there's a lot more going on in this country that you could be focused on rather than whether my kid identifies as male or female or trans. Right. Like there's fires burning everywhere across Canada. We have homeless, we have drug addicts, we have just addicts in general, whether it be alcohol. Like I'm an alcoholic, well, former alcoholic, but once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. But, so we have so many more things that we could be focused on instead of gender ideology. And he just doesn't seem to care about any. Oh, you're starving? You can't afford to eat? Oh, who cares? Are you trans? It's like, what? Maybe if we all said we were trans, he'd give us some food.
Well, I'm not joking. There's somebody reached out to me and they said, I'm having trouble getting shoulder surgery. I'm on a list. It's going to be 2 years. I said, tell them it's for your sexual identity. They may put you up on the list.
I said the same thing to my mom. Yeah. I just said, tell them that
it's ruining your sexual identity. It's causing you to have distress about your sexual identity. They will likely bump you.
Yep. I said the same thing to my mom. And she goes, do you think it would work? I was like, who knows? But I'd try it. He's letting everybody else do it.
Yep.
So, yep.
And then Ellen actually had a neat little question here because I don't even know the answer. So I'll ask you. Ellen says, cryptic question for Tami. Does flyball mean anything to you?
Flyball?
Flyball. Flyball.
That's a baseball term, is it not? Am I? I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what she's getting at because I don't know what she's getting at. Okay. Maybe Ellen could let us know at the end, but I think your answer, Ellen, is no. It doesn't mean anything to her.
No, yeah.
Term. Yeah. And then we got Charlie. Bless you, Tami. So sorry you went through all of this. What growth? That's the message from today. This episode is about growth because, boy, did you show us an incredible amount of it. You're like a little weed growing so quickly. It's awesome to see. And I'd like to see you spread that. Let's be a garden and get all of this growth happening.
Well, I can tell you, I can tell you from knowing all you guys and learning how I have, I feel like I've actually gotten more intelligent over the last couple of years. I'm like, I'm gaining brain cells. I'm actually gaining them. Woo, So thanks,
That's
guys.
great. Well, that's what we're trying to do. It's education. And so if you are learning something, that's wonderful. And I learned a lot about you, and I learned a lot about the true power of abused strength. I never got to have that conversation with my sister. So thank you for sharing that part with me. I really hope it helps somebody else.
I
We
do too.
always do that whole let's hope it helps one person thing. Hope it helps thousands. I hope it helps a whole
Oh,
whack of people here. So
thank you.
thank you, Tammy.
And thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay, no, I love you. Thank you for being in the show. Even though you voted NDP, we still love you. Not no hard feelings. Yeah, we don't cancel around here. We accept and understand. So, Tammy, thank you so much for showing up, sharing this with us, getting us to understand these struggles are real, but you can get out of them. You can get out
Yes,
of them.
absolutely. You can.
Yeah.
And thank you guys. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Jason. Love you too, brother. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to get to share my
It
voice.
was
Thanks for my coming out party, guys.
yay. So look, we have coming out on our side as well. Everybody should be
It's like,
happy
I'm
now.
coming out.
Yeah.
I want the world to know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we don't use the word pride because it has an I in it, but we use proud because it's you, because it's for other people. So we're very proud, and
Yes.
thank you very much.
And thank you.
Okay, we'll talk soon. We'll see you in the chat. All right, you still
Yeah.
have time. I got a couple more minutes to finish up here.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Okay. Talk to
Thanks,
you guys
Tammy.
later.
Bye. Just like some good leftover food, it's even better the second day. Things kind of marinated, flavors got mixed in, and the information was a lot nicer to listen to and actually pay attention to. If you get into this and you're hosting and you're interviewing people, your brain is at about 20% on the conversation as it's happening, and then 80% in formulating the next question and trying to make sure that you understand where we can go with it. So when I get to listen to it a second time, I definitely get to pick up more details and I get to enjoy it because my mind is fully on it. So yeah, even this time it was a little more emotional for me as well, especially when we got to her story about her abuse. But the Jordan Peterson is a very uplifting part of that story, which makes me full of hope. Because anybody, if they're lost or sad or depressed or searching for something, can go ahead and check out Jordan Peterson and start that journey as well. So it's one of those things that's available for anybody who just picks up a phone and goes and does it. Tami, thank you so much for again sharing that story. You're beating some of the other people when it comes to the numbers, so it's loved a lot. Go ahead and share her story to your friends and family. Post it on your Facebook too. This could be a very good way for people who are on the left to kind of hear a genuine story about making the move away from the left and why, because that's the most important part there, and why. Tami did say, Singh made some comments, stood beside Justin, and that was the nail in the coffin for her. Some people may not know that happened. So it might be good to get this information out, do some clips, point to the time code like I spoke about at the beginning, and share it. Share it on Facebook. There's a lot of people, your family, your friends are on Facebook. And you don't have to come out and say like, hey, you guys should all be going to the right and here's why. It's just, hey, this is an interesting story of a journey from left to right. Okay. Like we don't need to try and push them, but let's open the story and let's expose them to it, because this is what I hear a lot from the left, and they are moving. There is a very, very big tide moving towards the right, mainly around children and the gender ideology stuff. Those are confusing to many people. They're frustrating to many people, and too many people think that that's not even something we need to be doing. So that's helping. But thank you so much, Tami. I really appreciate that. I might even listen to it a third time because it's a very good episode. I see that my chat lady, I'd love to meet her one day because she's really good at this, started a bunch of things. So I'm definitely be going into those. Tami says here, I really think if people felt more supported, they would also leave the left. The left is no longer what it was a long time ago, and people see it and know it, but feel a sort of loyalty. Yeah, and Tammy, I think you also touched on that as well. So you got the loyalty, and then you also got the trap of an abused victim by their abuser. So, um, like if they even see bad things, and we do this with like sports and hockey, we'll see our team, one of our players do something bad, and we'll kind of just justify it. We'll be like, hey, well, yeah, he may have hit him with a stick and slashed him, but earlier he tripped another person, or this happened, and oh, well, he's been this kind of way for a long time. It's important that we actually let them know that we don't want that. Like, you will come up with ways to justify it. But if it was your son that was playing hockey, then you would find ways to not justify it, and you would turn it into a really big thing. So that also happens too, Tammy. They will actually see things that they don't like, and they'll say, "Oh, wow, I can't believe we're doing that." But the other side's way worse. They're all phobics. They want to kill children that are different. Like, that's how they think. So they will say to themselves, well, my guy ain't so bad. That's not so bad. So there's a few things we got to do here, Tammy. We got to really expose the right, let them see what it's like. It's not so bad. We certainly love children. There's no way or shape or form. Um, Body dysmorphia, gender dysmorphia, anything. We still love the children. Okay. This is not the side that thinks they need to be cut up, altered, chemicaled, convinced, confused. We're not the side that needs to do or does that. So we definitely love children. So if the left starts to see that, maybe that helps as well. But the media is very good at hiding that part of the right. They don't show how lovely we are. They don't show that we are a very big, caring group. They just want to demonize us because, frankly, we're very attractive to them. So this is why they'll demonize us. You saw this behavior in high school. A girl comes in, a boy comes in, new to the class. They're attractive, and people go, "Ooh, you're ugly," and they say that only because of jealousy, because they don't want people to move towards these new people. The left continued to do that the entire time. They came out of school and continued to hate the other side and said, ooh, even though it actually looks quite appealing and it is attractive. So, Tammy, I think you will be able to help several people within your group because they know you. They know your heart. They really, really know you. So that's going to be good. It's going to help some of them take another look at maybe their position. So, Tammy, thank you so much for that. If you're on Twitter, get on it. I've opened a couple cans of worms while you guys are watching that video. I have a tweet about abortion. I'm trying to find out if Canadians actually know the law in Canada around abortion. So the 4 choices, let me pull it up here. The 4 choices are rare medical reasons only, first term only, no later than second term, legal any term, any reason. So go find that poll on my Twitter and put your vote in there and see if you know what the law is. I also put a link in there if you want to learn what the law is. So go ahead and check out that tweet, share it around. Let's try and educate people, because I can tell you right now, about 14% of Canadians don't know. And I've seen it as high as 20% on this poll right now. Don't know the law. In fact, to be very specific about this, there is no law. Okay, that's kind of the point. There is no law. So, a bit of a trick question because there really isn't a law. But 86% of people fully understand it. Okay. And then also I released another tweet about hate speech in Canada, getting some action, because I identify that in Canada, congratulations, it's a boy, can be deemed as hate speech. You are assigning a gender. That's the hate speech here. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at in Canada now. And that abortion thing, just to give you another hint, only North Korea, China, and Canada share the same rules around it. The U.S. used to be on that list until the Roe v. Wade was dropped, so they don't participate in that group anymore. So it's just us, North Korea, and China. Might make for a good meal, but it doesn't make for good policy. And then Brent has put out a tweet linking to Jack Posobiec, who put out a tweet about China's women army. they're marching. They're bringing the women forward to fight as well. Check that out as well. It's one of these warnings that, look, they are trooping up, would be a term I would put towards that. They are trooping up and showing the world. But if you have OCD, it's wonderful. They're in sync, completely great. But yeah, check it out. China is sending out signals. Taiwan would be their target, and that one would really rock the economy of the globe, because they're such a big supplier, both Taiwan and China, for very important items. So keep an eye on that one. But yeah, thank you very much. And I did go and start to update my calendar so I can give you guys some updates on who is coming on the show. So we do have Donald Best on Thursday, tomorrow, and we have Corey Morgan. See, I remembered his name now because I wrote it in front of me. I'm always embarrassed when I forget that kind of thing. And then Jeremy McKenzie on Saturday. On Monday, it's going to be Max Bernier and team, because I'm in Manitoba for the election on Monday. On the 20th, Tuesday, it's Randy Hillard. So I'm really excited about that one. Chelsea Hillard's a friend as well on Twitter. So I'm really excited about that one. Lots of support, and a lot of people want to see how that one goes. Of course, we're going to have our Coast to Coast on Wednesdays, and we're going to keep that going. So that'll be a regular show. We're going to try a 3-hour period this time to see if we can get everybody in. But I'm also going to be changing the name to Cross Canada, because we are going to be coast to coast to coast, and that's just too much words to put on here. So it will be called Cross Canada. Yeah, we have limitations like that. Like, this will limit how big our titles are. And then on the 22nd of Thursday, the 22nd, I have Herb Powell. So he is a Twitter user. He's got quite the following. He's one of these Indians that have a say and have been using it. So he's been using the platform quite a bit. So we'll meet him. If you know who he is, his name isn't Herb, but he goes by Herb Powell, which is a Simpsons character. So go ahead and go check out his tweets, and you'll see what he's all about. And then you'll see him live on the 22nd. And I haven't booked anybody for the week of the 26th to the 30th just yet, but I am working on some of them. For the 23rd, I've penciled in, but I got to confirm Dr. William Mackis. So the doctor in Edmonton, who's coming out about vaccine injury. He is super busy, super busy, but I'm working my best to get him in. He has responded. He wants to be on the show. He said yes. We just have to get a date. So I've been holding the 23rd for him, but it might be somebody else on the 23rd. But I did book someone else in July already, because they also have a very busy schedule, and that will be Tracy Wilson. So Tracy Wilson is the gun rights advocate in Ontario. She is one of the leading organizations to fight for gun rights, property rights. She's a big defender of our rights, and she definitely has a lot to say about C-21 and a whole bunch of other bills. So if you're into property rights and you want to understand where we're going with that, Tracy Wilson will be here on the 3rd of July. And those are all the booked ones, but there are some more floating around, and once I actually start to get them into the calendar and confirm it with them, I'll let you know. But we definitely have a senator that's interested, and we definitely have some other political leaders. We're working on Stephen Harper. But you guys want to see him? You want to hear from him? The old prime minister? I think he would have a lot to say too. So we're working on him. And if there's anybody else that you guys would like, just let me know. We've been very good at taking recommendations and then getting in touch with people to see if they want to be on the show. So it's working. So if you have any recommendations and you want to see somebody specifically, do let me know. But what do you think of that lineup so far? Not bad. Tami says, I am very honored to have had a chance to be here on the channel. It was great fun, and I hope we can all do it again. Yeah, Tami. So what I'm thinking is I'm being asked to do Twitter Spaces. I'm being asked to create one. A lot of people are pushing me for that because it gets me out there on Twitter. So I might be doing something on a Sunday after church. I may come on, have a couple hours on Twitter Spaces. But what I do want to do is I want to keep going with this Canadian series. Real Canadians series. So I'm trying to, other than I gave it to Randy already, I'm trying to keep my Tuesday open for conversations like Tami's. Would you guys be comfortable with maybe a couple guests and we do a bit of a panel with some Canadians? Or did you really enjoy this intimate one-on-one and we get the whole story uninterrupted, no other things going on? If we do it that way, it's going to be spaced out a lot further and it'll be tougher to get a bunch of people in. If we do panels, I can get 2 or 3, maybe 4 people on an episode, but it also makes it cluttered and it could get noisy. So I'm going to ask you, you're my morning group. You're the ones that help guide me well. Do you want the real Canadians to just be them, like one person? Maybe there's a team, a husband, a wife, parent, child, but we'll consider that one. Or do you want to see multiple Canadians kind of talking things out in like a panel format? But let me know. I'm open to trying things out. I do want to keep my Saturdays clear. Jeremy got booked on a Saturday because I love my family a lot, and I really do want to keep my Sundays clear for the same reason. But I think I can squeeze a Twitter space in there. Ellen, thank you very much. I did really enjoy Tami's. Yeah. Why not both? Try them both, she says. Yeah. I'll figure it out. Like, I'm a little OCD type of guy. I like to get a process in place and then kind of stick to it. But and here's the reason why, Ellen. Because if I do both, if I'm doing panels, somebody might say, "Hey, I wanted a full show," and I don't want to disappoint anybody. But right now, we're going to do solos, and maybe we'll do something where we try out that format. But thank you for your response there, Ellen. Tami, again, I like both ideas, to be honest, but I think panels could be a lot of fun. I've never done one, so I'm in. Yeah, okay, so you guys like panels too. I do as well, because we get so many in there. Let me think about it. Maybe think about it. A panel of Canadian panel, Canada's panel, something like that. Okay. I think you guys are pushing me in that direction, and I like it too. So, Padge, I'm going to take the control for a bit. Just like in the airplane, I'm going to say, I have control. And then you're going to say, you have control. I have control. It was a privilege that you shared so much with us. Absolutely. That is the takeaway from this. It is our honor that Tami even opened up the way she did. Tami opened up to her whole circle, right? As we learned at the very beginning, she is coming out and letting her friends know. So that was brave. Sharing it with us, that was brave. And then getting into the real hurtful and painful memories, that's the true definition of courage. So yeah, it was a privilege to talk to Tami, to hear that story, and to also share some of mine to her. I felt that close to her that I had no problems with that. So thank you very much, Tami. And yeah, you're going to be on the show again. But Tami, you're also on tonight. I believe you're on tonight for 20 minutes. You may or may not be. It's up to you, because we have a lot of Ontario people that want to get on. So I'll chat with you. But you might be on tonight if there's time as well, Tami, if you have time. And Clay is saying, indeed, it was great talk, Tami. Clay, thank you so much for being supportive. You're one of our followers that come back all the time. I see you on Twitter as well. Clay, thank you so much. And Clay, if you want to be on, dude, I would get you on. I'd bump Jeremy for you. I can tell Jeremy to take a hike. We're going to have Clay on. Let me know. I would love to have you on too. As Peter pointed out, I am not as brave. I don't know why you would say that. It's a cold pool. Jump in. It gets warm pretty quick. This is no different. Ask Tami. She was a little nervous. I don't bite unless you ask nice. But yeah, come on. Maybe Ellen, though, but maybe we will do something kind of behind closed doors. It's just you and us and the whole group, and kind of get our feet wet and expose ourselves to each other first. COVID party. But let me know if you would like that. That would be something I would do privately, like on a Saturday behind the scenes for you guys. I would make time for that because it's not going live. We're just going to meet here and chat. Maybe we'll do that. Get your feet wet. Peter says, how can any major party be viable? There are no more sides within the sphere of authoritarianism. Dismantle the uniparty. I think that's what PPC is trying to do, Peter. So PPC has put the CPC in an interesting position. It's either ship up or ship out, because there's a very strong movement back to the right, and right now the CPC is headed to the left. So they're going to be going upstream with all the salmon, while the PPC are the ones leading the salmon in. What I like, Peter, is it looks like the PPC want to anchor themselves in conservatism strongly, and that's good because you need an anchor. You absolutely need to know your place and where you are. And I think what they've done is because of their existence, there's a rope attached to a CPC ship, and they're trying to fix that rudder that C4 blew up. So we have that bill at C4 that says you can't, conversion therapy bill. That's what blew up the rudder of Canadian political parties like the CPC. So now we need a rope, and we need to pull them back. And I believe that PPC is that rope and that anchor. And if CPC keeps going too far and drifting too far, that rope will be used to move people over to the PPC. So ship up or ship out. I think that's kind of what's going to be happening for the next decade in Canadian politics, as Canada and parties like the PPC force the CPC to head back to where they were. And I think we'd all be fine with that. If PPC ended up being the third party replacing the NDP, that would put the balance of power in the West, because that's where the PPC would get a lot of support. They'd be replacing the NDP. And then we would have a conservative third party keeping the CPC and the Liberals in check. I think that would be a good balance for Canada. And if the CPC don't do that, they'll be replaced. And then maybe they end up being the third party that has the balance of power, while the PPC is a minority government. But either case, I'd like to see us head more to the right. So thank you very much, Peter. And then Clay, thanks, Jay, Ali, Paula, Yellowhead Yacht Club, and of course, Tami. You are a family member. I can't wait to see you at Thanksgiving. It should be a lot of fun, Tami. But we certainly do love you. All right, folks, on that, I'm going to give it back to my chatbot. She will take over again, and I'll play the outro, and we'll see the rest of your chats. So go ahead and say goodbye to everybody. Get your last chats in there. We have started to put them on the screen during the outro. So if you have something to say, go ahead and say it. And then with that said, let me cue up our video. Good morning outro. And on that note, you guys have a wonderful day. Get there on Twitter. Share, retweet, have your say, start a new tweet. Let me know you got it. I'll get behind you. But you guys have yourself a wonderful day. And you remember, God bless.